And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the fourth round of the second season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series presented by the Full Send Racing Network. We are back, our second oval event of the season, the biggest field we have had in this series, in any series I've hosted since the very first race, when we had 20 people in an IndyCar race at Indianapolis. Tonight, almost 2 years later, we are back with an 18, maybe 19 car field tonight at Gateway, at Worldwide Technology Raceway, for what I can guarantee you guys will be an absolutely incredible event tonight. Hi everybody, I'm your host as always, and your host and producer, series founder, everything in between, and the guy who didn't have time to set his virtual background up. So we are not in a lovely virtual St. Louis for the Worldwide Technology event here in our season. We're in my very real setup here in lovely Toronto, Ontario, Canada. But we'll try not to stay on this too long, because obviously this is not nearly as glamorous as the usual virtual setting, and we like to try to keep things virtual and realistic here to the sim world. If we're gonna be sim racing, might as well try to make it look like I'm in a sim location. But for tonight, we're gonna stick with the very traditional, very real setup, so you guys get to see what the broadcaster's lounge looks like. But tonight, guys, we are in for such an exciting race. I genuinely cannot be more excited. We've had an awesome season so far to this point. And we'll take a moment now, because we have 5 minutes left before qualifying. As you guys can see, actually 2 minutes left. Time is flying by. But so we had some session setup issues in the background, getting things set up properly, so we delayed qualifying a little bit. You saw that message there in the chat. But as you see on the timing tower, 18 times set tonight, all within a second here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and only 20 minutes of practice. Tonight is going to be competitive. There's going to be plenty of passing opportunities, lots of guys with stakes in the championship, guys with important things to fight for. We're going to start off with a guy who won last week's race, finally got the monkey off his back, Mr. Andrew Bedrosian, driver of the number 5. And he's been on fire this season in the first portion of every night's event. In qualifying, he has been dominant. He's won the pole in every race of the season so far, 2 road courses and an oval, including last week, most recently at Mid-Ohio. So he has been on fire in that section of the proceedings every week so far in this season. But Gateway is a whole another ball game. Oval qualifying is so much harder, so much more competitive, and there are some guys in the past that have proven very quick at this very track. I mean, we ran here last season in the first season of the Snowstorm Series. We were here in round 14, only 5 races ago, if you want to think about it that way. So we were here recently, and I believe the man that took the pole that day was none other than Mr. Rich Foligno, a guy who has been so quick in the past at oval events all the way throughout the week. He's currently just exiting pit road as we speak, but that number 99, keep an eye on him tonight. He has yet to score a podium in series history or a win, despite being in the series for 4 years, and that is criminal, because Rich is one of the best, most consistent, well-thought, just well-paced drivers at ovals that I've ever seen in any of my series I've run this long. It is incredible to see what he's done. His consistency has been great. He comes out to practice every week. He knows the tracks, and something always goes wrong for him. Almost never of his doing. So tonight, I'm really hoping we change that. I don't mean to jinx the guy at all. Tonight's a big night for Rich Foligno. He's got something to prove. He's in the top 10 in points, and tonight, with how close the field is, as you'll see when we go to the points in a moment, there is tons of room for a lot of change in the point standings after tonight's race. So he's somebody to watch out for sure. A couple other names as well. David Paxa currently sits 3rd in practice. He's looking for his first ever podium in the series. Remember, father of, 3-time series champion in any of the series I've hosted. I've never had a series I've hosted that wasn't won by this guy, Logan Paxa. His father, David Paxa, joined the series last year, and since then his consistency at ovals has been great. Very similar to Rich. He's a guy who puts in a lot of time, puts in a lot of practice laps, but so far it just hasn't transferred into a podium yet in this series. But as we come to the end of practice, we'll go very quickly as the guys get out there and start running their qualifying attempts. We're going to go to your point standings here, but David is absolutely a guy I'm going to be looking out for. We're going to keep an eye on a couple of these guys throughout the race, and some of them we may even have a chance to interview. So we will take those opportunities during the cautions if we get a chance. Look at that, just jumble of cars coming down pit road as we speak. There you go. We're going to look behind David Paxa and just see the line of cars following through with him. But as the qualifying times go up, here are your point standings heading into round 4 tonight at Gateway. We'll talk about your sponsor you see there in the bottom right in just a moment, but here are the points heading into tonight. Your current series points leader, Mr. Trevor Anderson, your race winner 2 weeks ago at the last oval at Phoenix. Can he make it 2 for 2 tonight and win sweep the ovals in the first 4 races of the season? He is up top with 126 points ahead of 2 fellow Americans, both race winners this season. Bedrosian winner last week at Mid-Ohio, and Nickerson race winner in the first race of the season at Imola. After that, Tim Salvatore has missed a week and still holds 4th in the championship. With the drop race we have in this series considered, he is definitely a guy to watch out for as potentially a championship contender. But time starting starting to jump up on the board, so we'll see those in just a moment. But there are your point standings. Look for your favorite driver wherever they are in that leaderboard. So Christopher Mitchell in 5th, David Lakey in 6th, Marshall Crocker Sr. in 7th, Tanner Dignard, Michael Nickel, and Rich Foligno. Round off your top 10. Then it's Paxa, Preston, Lewick, Skilton, Zufelt, Hillier, Donk, and Mahan. And everybody on that list, short of Woody Mahan, is in attendance tonight. So the point standings are going to be a change in tonight, and I, for one, cannot wait to see them do so. But qualifying has begun. Now is, and for many people, I would say possibly the best part of the broadcast I've heard before. This is one that people tend to enjoy. Nick Nickerson coming off of turn number 4. He was the fastest of anybody in the first sector. Where did he go in the second sector? Goes to the pole. 31.712, just under 2 minutes into qualifying, and he does it solo, and always at the ovals. One of the key things is where can you be on track? Can you get in the draft? Can you get behind a huge pack of cars and try to pick the perfect moment to go for a flying lap? And that's easier said than done, as we see Mitch Morrow a little bit off the pace, making his debut tonight, though, in that number 66 car. So he is out of the Canadian Mini Indy circle, like many other drivers in this series have been in series past. I think over 15 drivers maybe even in tonight's race, or at least something in that ballpark. So definitely the Canadian Mini Indy pride being shown nice and strong tonight. But David Paxa, speaking of, goes to the pole. A guy who's been in the Ontario karting scene for a very long time, more than just in a karting role, but helping his son, Logan Paxa, who's been rising the ranks for a number of years. David knows racing better than almost anybody, and he is provisionally on the pole. Runs into the back of Mitch Morrow, I believe. Either Mitch Morrow or Jonathan Petrone, one of the two. But somebody was significantly off the pace there. That was the number 12. That was Jonathan Petrone, a little bit off pace, and heading down to turn number 3. He made contact with David Paxa. Nick Nickerson, though, goes back to the pole. So Nick was fastest in the first sector, very quick in the second, goes up 31.582. I would anticipate a 31.4 is going to be the pole time, and we see Max Preston fastest in sector 1. Where is he in sector 2? He goes fastest, 31.546. So the times are just rattling off now here at Gateway. We'll fade the music out and get our proper race audio so you can hear the beautiful hum and the beautiful engine sound of these Indy Pro PM18 cars. But all over the track, guys are running neck and neck with each other. Looking elsewhere, it's Trevor Anderson and Marshall Crocker Sr., I believe, are coming off in turn 4 together. We'll see if one of them runs a fast lap. Neither seem to run personal bests anywhere. Crocker runs a 32.5, but that is not good enough to move up the timing tower. So currently it's Preston, Nickerson, Paxa, Anderson, Dignard, your top 5. Now Zufelt moves into the top 5. Fred Zufelt, who was very quick at Phoenix, has only run 2 races in series history, but he has just been incredible out of the blocks here so far at the ovals. Keep an eye on that dark red number. What number is Fred Zufelt? Number 14 car. As he's been hot all season. Tanner Dignard just ran a great time. Goes to the pole indeed. 51 car is just putting down fast sectors each of the last 3 laps. He's heating up in the perfect spot in the draft right there behind Rich Foligno as your final driver on the timing tower. Justin Lewick finally gets to set a time. He goes 18th provisionally, but I would anticipate that time is going to move up as the session goes on. So Tanner Dignard, we'll see in his follow-up if he can be quite as quick. Nick Nickerson just ran another lap. Doesn't appear he'll improve, but he improved in his first sector. Only a couple of hundreds down. Rich Foligno, he was better in both sectors. Where will he go? Goes only 1 spot, moves up into 7th. Jonathan Petrone goes up to 8th. Great performance for the driver, running in only his second race. The first time oval driver in this series. The rookie makes contact with the outside wall off of turn 2, but he did put himself in the top 10 prior to that. Justin Lewick, remember I mentioned a moment ago, surprised he was at the bottom of the leaderboard there for a moment. Well, he is there no longer, runs a perfect time there that last time by, and he is going to move up into the 6th spot. We're going to very quickly change his color on the timing tower, make sure we're all accurate in that regard tonight. But great time for Justin Lewick. He's a guy who's been kind of hit and miss in the past at the ovals. He's been in the series for quite a long time, but he's had some success some places and has struggled a little bit in others. Definitely, I think, more of a road course guy based on his background, but he has had the pace at some tracks, and we'll see if tonight is one of them. But Max Preston back to the provisional pole. Good friend of Justin Lewick. They've known each other in racing for quite a long time. Andrew Bedrosian there provisionally a moment before had just taken the provisional pole and is only 8 thousandths down on Preston. Mitch Morrow making his debut tonight moves up into the 8th spot, bumps Zufelt and Salvatore down. Marshall Crocker at some point ran a lap, put himself into what is now provisionally 11th. He was bumped a couple times, so now it is James Donk who finds himself at the back of the qualifying order. Only 6 tenths down, though, on your provisional pole time of Max Preston's 18.494. So that should tell you exactly how competitive tonight is going to be. and in terms of qualifying, because it really is about hooking the draft up, nailing turns 1 and 2, which are very technical turns. Gateway is a tough track. The banking is different in turns 1 and 2. It's not as, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's not a symmetrical track, so it's fascinating to watch and just see where guys can make up time. It's going to be such a fun track to watch. I genuinely cannot put it into words. It's just one you got to see. If you didn't see last season's race here at Gateway, you are in for an absolute treat tonight. Andrew Bedrosian, the fastest of anybody in the second sector, but doesn't get past Preston, I should say, goes 6,000ths faster, but cannot improve. We're on board right now with Fred Zufelt, who just went by the spun Rich Foligno on the outside of turn number 2. There's a car looking backwards there off the exit of the second turn, but here we're going to ride a lap on board with Fred Zufelt just to get a handle on this Gateway track, especially driving by yourself. It's a very different track in dirty air than it is just driving around on your own. But he is going to pull off. 3 minutes left in qualifying. He feels his time on this stint is done. Christopher Mitchell just a moment ago went all the way up to 8th. That's a great time for him. He's currently 5th in points in his rookie season. Christopher's just been off to an incredible start this season, and another one of our Canadian Mini Indy representatives. So we are so grateful to have him joining in the series this season. And it's great to see he's been off to a rocket start in that 94. And right now he's leading this field through turn number 4. He's going to provide some great slipstreams. But Tim Salvatore, fastest in sector 1. Could he go to the pole? He does. 31.432. I believe last season, your pole sitter at a race, I think it was in Iowa, did not get to finish because of a behind-the-scenes admin issue. But now, back to the pole for the first time since then, at least provisionally. Could tonight be his night? And Rich Foligno bumps Preston. The two guys, Tim Salvatore and Rich Foligno, that have been so quick at ovals in the past, have oodles of pace in both qualifying and the race, but have never managed to pull away a win, are both 1-2 qualifying on the front row. This could be huge. This could be the night, finally, that somebody like a Foligno, like a Salvatore, like a Paxa finds themselves on the podium, if not the top of it. So, guys, tonight is the race to watch. If you love this series, if you're looking for some of the new drivers to make a name for themselves and prove that, well, maybe they haven't quite grown accustomed enough to the Formula Renault to go for the win in that car yet, but they definitely know racing and they know oval racing, as David Lakey goes up to 11th right as we cut to his camera. So David Lakey finding pace there, even solo, and that's a super impressive time, only 2.5 tenths down on Salvatore to run by yourself, completely solo. So that says to me that David Lakey's got plenty of pace. Christopher Mitchell back up the timing tower, back up to 8th after dropping a couple spots, sits right behind Trevor Anderson, who sits behind him on track, and is trying to make up a little bit of ground on both Mitchell and Salvatore, trying to put the perfect lap together, trying to nail his different sectors and capitalize on the draft as much as possible. Michael Nichols going to go up to 8th. A guy who's been great this year at the road courses. Justin Lewick comes 15 thousandths of a second off on that last attempt. So Justin Lewick in that gold entry tonight. It's a different look than we've seen in the past for the number 55 car, but he's putting good laps together here, and if he can keep the momentum up, if he's on those hot tires and his rubber is really working with him, as we see Christopher Mitchell go into the outside of the turn 2 wall right in front of Trevor Anderson, who gets by it. But if we can see Justin really put some laps together here while the tires are at their prime, we could see a first-time pole sitter here at an oval. I don't believe Justin Lewick has ever taken the pole at an oval in this series. Tonight could be the night. Trevor Anderson ran a personal best in Sector 1 this lap. We'll see if he can do it in Sector 2. No draft help. It's going to be good. I don't know if it's pole. It goes up to 6, so it was a good time. He'll move himself into the 3rd row, but as of right now, Trevor Anderson just not quite the pace necessary to put himself any higher than the 6th row. Or sorry, 3rd row, I should say. But welcome everybody in the broadcast as we come to the final 15 seconds of qualifying. We'll see if anybody's got anything left in the tank to dethrone Salvatore. I personally think that time is just too hard to beat. I don't think we've seen a 31.3 in qualifying all week. David Pax is going to go for one more attempt, fastest in the first sector. Let's see if he can do it again. Comes to the line. It'll be quick. It won't be pole. I can guarantee that. He'll go up to 10th. So top 10 for David Paxa, puts himself in the 5th row. He's put down plenty of practice laps this week. We'll see if they'll translate over well. But the checkered flag has come out, so only a couple more drivers yet to finish their times. Can anybody improve? Preston was fast in the first sector. What can Max Preston do to end off qualifying? No, comes within 59 thousandths. Ties Rich Foligno's 4th place time, but he's already put himself up to 3rd. That is it. Everybody remaining on track has finished their laps. So tonight's pole sitter at Gateway, Mr. Tim Salvatore. Congratulations to him. Just what a return for him. He's always been great at qualifying here at the ovals, and he doesn't come from an oval background. So to have that flat out pace, that understanding of the slipstream necessary to run the perfect lap, is really interesting. It's really impressive that it's where his skill set lies. And as the session comes to an end, we are now ready to go. So Tim Salvatore tonight, your pole sitter alongside Justin Lulick. Really interesting front row. And it is now time to go through your starting lineup here. Presented by, like many other segments on this broadcast, we're going to take a quick moment to thank CanadianMiniIndy.com. They are up there. I always forget the camera's flipped around. CanadianMiniIndy.com. Many of you will know who they are if you come from the local Ontario karting scene, but we are so grateful to have my home track, the home track of many other drivers in the series, and one of the best opportunities for anybody unfamiliar with racing or has never had the opportunity to try real racing to get into it and make a career out of it, at least, and have the potential to rise through the ranks. I've been running in Rookie Series the past 11 years. My buddy, longtime karting rival, Scotty Norman's in the chat, so shout out to Scott. But I've run in the Rookie Series for a number of years. That has been my outlet for racing for a very long time. And I'm so grateful for everything they've done over the course of the last 10 years. So Canadian Mini Indy, if you were in the local area to Hamilton, Ontario, that's where they're based out of, and you're looking for some Rookie Series karting, arrive and drive, you sign up for a paid membership at the beginning of the year, you pay a fee every week. They have occasional trophy races every couple months, which has its own championship. It's the most cost-effective, great way to get into racing at a the cheapest, the bottom level possible to kind of get your feet wet and figure out if it's what you want to do. But it's genuinely great competitive racing. I have had so much fun for the past 11 years. I feel like I've really grown as a driver, and this sim is a great place to test those abilities that I've kind of harnessed over the past 11 years. And it's a great way to meet people, as we've seen in this series. Many people have only met as a result of this series and of being karting drivers together. So CanadianMini.com, thank you. CanadianMiniIndy.com. Thank you sincerely so much for everything they've done, for sponsoring this series, getting the word out, and posting our race links every week. We sincerely appreciate it, and just check them out. The link is in the description, as always. Actually, the description isn't posted for tonight. The link is in last week's description, and I will go back and update it before the conclusion of the night. But here is your starting grid for tonight's fourth round of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series at Gateway. Tim Salvatore alongside Justin Lulick on the front row. Max Preston starts on the inside of the second row, right on the inside of Rich Foligno in fourth. Andrew Bedrosian starts in fifth. Championship second place, right ahead of the championship points leader on row 3. Tanner Dignard alongside Mr. Nick Nickerson in row number 4. Then it's Michael Nickel in ninth. David Paxa rounding off the top 10. After that, we have Mr. Christopher Mitchell in front of Fred Zufelt on row number 6. Then it's David Lakey alongside rookie first-time runner tonight, Mr. Mitch Morrow, Marshall Crocker Sr., and Jonathan Petrone on row number 8. Then it's Jack Hillier and James Donk to round off the field for tonight's fourth round of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series Season 2 at Gateway. The lights on the pace car have come off. The pace car's on pit road. Green flag for the fourth round of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series Season 2 at Gateway. Tim Salvatore takes the field to green, and a great start for tonight's pole sitter. Through turns number 1 and 2, cold tires here for most of these drivers, so they're going to be lacking grip at the start. The first time through a corner full speed is going to be here in this braking zone into turn 3 and 4. We'll see how much momentum they can carry. We're going to go to the wide shot here and see the field start to fan out. Tim Salvatore running plenty of pace through 3 and 4, doesn't lift, carrying a ton of momentum. Shouldn't be a passing opportunity for anybody into turns 1 and 2 here on lap number 2. Lap 1 down, 124 to go. Tonight is going to be an amazing night. Through turns number 1 and 2, we're still clean as of right now. Andrew Bedrosian, I look back for 1 second, he's already up 3 spots from 5th to 2nd. Now he's looking to the outside on Salvatore. Bedrosian in the 5, wasting no time trying to take over the championship points lead. He is to the outside. He is looking quick. He is side by side with Salvatore as we come through 3 and 4. Off the exit of the corner, I think Salvatore is going to beat him back to the gas, but they're side by side. Andrew was able to carry more speed off the corner, and Preston's going to try to go with him on the outside. Justin Lulick, who was dropped from the very first lap, qualifying on the outside of the front row, might have his opportunity at third right now. Looks underneath Max Preston. Don't think it'll work. Preston should carry more momentum, and Trevor Anderson's going to go with him, but we're side by side for the lead. Andrew Bedrosian does get the run off of turn number 2, clear into the braking zone, but Salvatore sends it underneath into 3. Side by side still, Salvatore fighting back underneath, but unless he can wash him up, try to take the run off of Andrew Bedrosian, I think Andrew's going to continue to beat him with those runs, almost making contact Look at how close those two drivers are pushing to one another. We're going to put up the positions gained here since the beginning of the race, just to give you a little bit of context for how guys are moving around. I heard a little bit of chaos in the background, but I think we're okay. A little bit of contact maybe from a certain driver, but Andrew Bedrosian is clear, and in only 4 laps time is up 4 spots from 5th to 1st. Salvatore coming back, though, is not going to give Andrew the lead for it any longer than he needs to. There are bonus points in this series for leading the most laps, and Salvatore wants to get back in the championship after being second coming out of the second round of the season at Phoenix. Whoa, huge block from Andrew. Salvatore tried to fight back as Bedrosian cleared him. They make contact. Salvatore down the inside. Caution comes out. And the aggression, the tension building up each and every lap of that great battle finally comes to a head. The aggressive block, the aggressive pass, and 2 drivers are in the wall. Big moment here early at Gateway. And Tim Salvatore undoubtedly has damage, but comes out the better of those 2 drivers. Let's go to your full send racing replay presented by Canadian Mini Indy for the first caution of tonight's event. What a moment here. Here's the rundown to turn number 1. Andrew fully clear off of turn number 4, throws an aggressive block there down to the inside, forces Tim to the bottom, and then I think he tries to come down a little bit. Maybe thought Tim either backed out or was going to woe it up a little bit more than he did. And you can see the back right wheel of Andrew just completely caved in there on turn entry. Gonna go back here, gonna go to the perspective of Tim Salvatore here. Gonna go behind his car. So here's the number 91 of Tim Salvatore coming up to the corner, just washes way up. I mean, he was right down there on the bottom of the track. There was really no room for Tim Salvatore unless he fully slammed on the brakes. And I think with that aggressive block from Andrew, I get the sense that he didn't feel like dropping off like that. So let's see, there's Andrew's perspective, really big late block. It's pretty intense for the 5th lap. He just went right up into him. It was just 2 guys coming into a corner and 2 lines that weren't going to work, and Salvatore was just not backing off. And it's early in the race. I always say at ovals the best strategy is really just patience. Patience is the name of the game, and waiting around. And you want an example of that? Justin Lulick, who dropped back on that very first lap, dropped back to 4th for most of those first 5 laps, now finds himself the race leader because he just waited for the action in front of him to pick up. And well, here we are. Now we have our first caution of the race, and we see two of our very best, 2 of the guys that I think had the most potential, undoubtedly, to make up some ground in the very first stages of this race, maybe even pull away with the pace they had in qualifying. Well, they now find themselves on pit road. Salvatore should stay on the lead lap, but he'll drop to 17th, and Andrew Bedrosian already 2 laps down as a result of having to tow back to pit road. We do have lucky dogs on, so always the potential for you to make laps up in this series, but unfortunately for Andrew, the guy who was trying to catch Trevor Anderson for the points lead, who still leads by 2 points heading into tonight, well, that is unfortunately not the start to the night that he wanted, but we've seen Andrew come from some adversity in the past. But new race leader, the lights in the pace car are still on, so we have 1 more lap. We're going to give you a little bit of information about tonight's track here at Gateway in just a moment. But let's look at those positions gained again. We see on the left side there on the timing tower, Justin Lulick up 1 spot. Of course, he qualified in 2nd, dropped back a couple spots, but capitalized on that wreck, and now goes up to the, well, you can call it effectively the pole spot, but certainly the spot all of these drivers want to be, and at least want to be at the end of the final lap, that is. Then Max Preston sitting behind him in the 2nd spot. He has moved up 1 spot likewise. He started in 3rd, and again, as a result of that wreck in front, just capitalized on some chaos. Trevor Anderson, the consistent man, the guy who won at Phoenix, just waited for his moment, stayed out of trouble, had a crash happen in front of him mid-race, and just sailed away after that. Can we see a very similar race tonight from Trevor? And can it equal his 2nd oval win of the season? Michael Nickel, after that, has moved up quite a fair ways. The number 23 car started in the 9th spot and has since made up 5 positions, a couple on track, a couple because of the incident. He is up to 4th, right ahead of series race winner in his first race at Imola, and 3rd in the points, Mr. Nick Nickerson, driver of the number 2 car, and a guy that I think, yet to maybe get enough reps in this Indy Pro car at the ovals to truly have that competitive lap after lap pace that a couple guys did in qualifying. But he was very quick in practice, and Nick is maybe the fastest learner I've ever met on iRacing. To win his very first race in the series, coming from an oval background, was incredibly impressive, so don't count him out. And he's just ahead of Tanner Dignard. And tonight's biggest mover to this point in the race, Mr. David Lakey, another guy with experience in the oval discipline, coming from my Bandit Racing League series I broadcasted this year, has moved up from 13th to 7th. But the pace car is off onto pit road. We are ready to go tonight for the first restart of the race tonight at Gateway in the 4th round of the second season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series Back to Green here at Gateway. Justin Lulick leading the field down to turns number 1 and 2. Rich Foligno, for some reason, considerably off the pace. I don't know what's happening to him. I thought I saw damage to his front right or something like that. Something suspension-wise. Justin Lewis, somewhere on track, is having an issue. He's in the outside wall. What has happened? Caution comes out again. Almost immediately, Jack Hillier's around in the 44. A couple other drivers taking evasive action. Everybody gets by. Salvatore manages to get by, so he's already up a couple spots. But I was too busy trying to figure out Rich Foligno's situation there. And before I knew it, Justin Lewick finds himself looking backwards. Second full send racing replay of the race. Let's go check in with Justin Lewick there. So here's the perspective of Justin Lewick heading to turn number 3. What in the world? So part of me thought it was going to be Max maybe sliding up into him as he saw Max Preston made the move there on the inside heading to turn number 3. I didn't think we'd see a passing opportunity that soon. I just didn't think he'd get the run that fast. So we weren't looking there at the time. But it wasn't Max. It was just a little bit of contact from Trevor, but I'm trying to figure out why that happened in reference to where he was. He was just way off the pace on the entry into turn 3, like fully off the gas. Kind of an early lift there for him. I don't think Trevor was anticipating him to lift that hard. Trevor Anderson on pit road as we speak, so clearly he took a little bit of damage from that collision. Doesn't surprise me. Let's go back to Trevor's perspective here. Just that was net code too. Didn't even make proper contact on track. Just got a little bit too close. Made that contact with Justin, but yeah, I guess Justin was just trying to be clean, trying to let Max by on the inside, woed up a little bit to try to tuck in behind him. And yeah, second caution of the day, and second time the race leader's been taken out, and only, what is this now, 11 laps. So, oh boy, that's setting a precedent that I hope doesn't continue tonight. I hope that we keep it a little bit cleaner up front, so for the rest of the night. But if you ask me, that just means guys are fighting hard. It means it's going to be an aggressive night, one guys care about. And I think a lot of guys in the series, they know tonight is at, within their grasp. They know that it's they know it's a track that is competitive and is, I don't want to say less technical than any other racetrack, but you can take more advantage of the draft. You can make mistakes more, and they aren't punished nearly as bad. It's just a track that inherently makes competitive racing, and for some guys that's just going to work. Some guys come in with better racecraft, and racecraft refers to your ability to make passes, ability to run in a pack, ability to run in a group, and it's basically everything except for pace. So a lot of guys in the series have really great racecraft and really great experience, and they know where to put themselves in these oval races. And I think those are the skills that are going to pay off tonight. So that's what we want to see. We want to see guys get repaid for that. And I'm really curious what went on again with Rich Foligno. We mentioned before, now he's pulling back to pit road. Something is wrong with that car. I don't know what it's been for Rich. I'm trying to look back and see if I can find any telemetry stuff that shows something going wrong for him. But the 99 is on pit road, still in the lead lap. But the guy that qualified so far up in qualifying has always been quick at these ovals, especially Gateway last year. He finished with as good of a chance as anybody to go for the win, was a corner away from a top 3 at Iowa last season. I'm really hoping for a good night tonight from him, but he's going to have to get whatever this issue is figured out on pit road. It's taking tires as we speak, so there we go. Maybe not just a splash of fuel. Might be a strategy call. He might be trying to stay at the back of the pack. I genuinely would not be surprised because now he's seen 2 wrecks happen up front. He's seen guys wasting away their quick repairs. Maybe not such a bad idea to just wait back and let the race come to you. But we're going to take a quick moment here and go to your track info graphic to give you a little bit of information about tonight's race at Worldwide Technology Raceway and give you a little bit of info about the track. So Worldwide Technology Raceway, you've heard me call it. You've also heard me call it Gateway. It is kind of a mixture of the two. It's technically called Worldwide Technology Raceway, but that's a very long name and is objectively not very fun. So we're going to call it Gateway instead for most of the night. Gateway Motorsports Park, as it's also known. It opened in 1967, but not as the proper oval configuration we run today until 1996. So you see the alternate road course layout there on the graphic on the bottom right. It is nighttime here in the sim. The conditions are nice and clear, no clouds in the sky, but that does not mean, as it often does during the day, that the track is going to be hot and grip is going to be harder to come by because it is night and thus a colder track, plenty of grip. The track does come in after about 25 laps, so once guys are on warmer tires and the track is really rubbered up, you're going to see some good competitive racing, and that bottom line is going to be just as viable as the top line. 4 turns here, but as you can see on the track map, the track is not symmetrical. Turns 1 and 2 are much tighter than the wider banked 3 and 4, so it's a really, really interesting track. Again, the fact that you can't really get in a groove like you can at a lot of other symmetrical racetracks is tough because as a driver, you got to constantly be on your toes. It feels like a road course where every corner is different. You can't just do the same thing you just did in a corner, and the very next one you got to switch it up and always be trying to evolve your line as the tires come in and as the track comes in. So It is not an easy one whatsoever. And if you want to follow up to tonight's 18-car awesome field at an awesome competitive racetrack, next week we go to many of the drivers' favorite road course. We go to Monza, another track that had a great result last season, was so much fun in season 1. And tonight, or well, next week, next Sunday, we go back with an even more competitive, even faster Formula-style Formula Renault 3.5 race car. It should be an incredible race. But tonight's race, speaking of which, is going back to green. Max Preston with a massive jump over Michael Nickel. He takes off down to turn number 1. Already 3 or 4 car lengths clear heading to turn number 1. But Nick Nickerson wasting no time right underneath the bottom. The 2 car doesn't get the grip he needs on the entry down into turn number 2, but does get to the inside. We're side by side off of turn number 3. Turn number 2, I should say. We're getting scattered on this racetrack. 2 very similar looking cars in Nickerson and Lakey teaming up on that outside row. Lakey moving down to the bottom right above the white line, trying to stay on the draft as best as he can. Washes out with the dirty air. We're still side by side between Nickel and Nickerson. Preston up front is getting a little bit of time with this battle going on. There's already 7 tenths up, only a lap into the stint. Down to the bottom again goes Nickerson. Up on top is Nickel. Still continuing not to make contact. Some great driving going on between these 2 drivers. In the back, we see Lakey and Dignard getting in position. They're in 4th and 5th. David Pax is up 4 spots, up to 6th. And Nickerson slots in behind Nickel, who successfully holds him off there for a couple of laps. Still on pit road is Tim Salvatore and Rich Foligno back down pit road. I don't know what's going on for these 2 guys, but they've been on and off pit road all night. Don't know if it's fuel or what, but they're back. And this has just been a bizarre night for these 2 guys. I don't know what their issues are, but they got to get this stuff figured out. Now go a lap down, and Lucky Dog is still very much in effect. Justin Lewick's on pit road too. I'm so curious what's going on here tonight, what the situation is, but whatever it is, Max Preston is not having to deal with any of it. He is comfortably out front at the moment. That number 6 Arrows F1 looking entry is just pulling away. And in the back, this battle kind of continues on, but Michael Nickel successfully to this point holding off Nickerson in what has been a great little fun battle to start off the stint. There we go. Down to the inside goes Nickerson, the 2-car, I should say. Used to say on the 2-truck from a truck series we ran this season with him. Gets it done. Down to the bottom goes the 2-car. Plenty of grip in the middle of the corner. That inside line starting to come in, and he capitalizes. Michael Nickel, though, back to the bottom side. Going to try to get him back into turn number 3. Got the better run off the corner. Anytime you're on the outside, you'll get a better, more momentum off the outside of the corner. So that worked to its advantage for Michael Nickel there. The 23 car stays right to the white line on exit. That should give Nick a better run as he didn't stick it quite as tight off the end of the corner. Max Preston is getting reeled in bit by these guys in the draft, and Nick Nickerson, now he comfortably gets him into the braking zone and doesn't need to sacrifice his line. The 2 car is up to the number 2 spot. Outside of that, the top 8 here, really, top 9, kind of formed into a bit of a single file line. Top 8, I should say, because Fred Ziffelt's a little ways back. But this top 8, starting from Marshall Crocker Sr. onwards, is having a fun little battle here. Everybody kind of just single filing out and getting ready to try to pull away from this pack in behind. Fred Zufelt comfortably out of the draft by now. It's just him, Andrew Bedrosian, and I believe that's Mitch Morrow have kind of formed up here in this second pack. Gonna be a little bit competitive. They get the slipstream off each other, but hopefully get to stay out of the any potential battles up front that could result in a crash. Just in front of them actually is Tim Salvatore. So lots of red and maroon, various shades of colored cars in this section of the track. Tim Salvatore back on track after going a lap down there in the pits of the 91 car. Currently the lucky dog holder along with 4 other drivers. He's just doing his thing. Maybe it was a pit strategy call. Maybe he just tried to maximize fuel. Maybe he thinks he can make it to the end at this point in the race. But whatever it was, definitely sacrificed a little bit of track position to go back there. Now he has to try to get that lap back and at least stay ahead of Andrew Bedrosian so that the next time the caution comes out, he gets his lap back for free as the lucky dog driver. Back up to the front, though, Nickerson reeling in Preston. We could see a great battle here between 2 guys who really haven't had a great opportunity at any point this season to duke it out as much as they may have liked. Through turns number 3 and 4, Nickerson might get a good run off of here. He will indeed. Look at the slipstream for the 2 car. Up into turn number 1, the braking zone. This is going to be another potential pass on the inside for Nick. He's just been rattling those off tonight. On board with the number 2 car as he comes through the corner. Looking off the right rear suspension. There is the 6 car. So pass is successfully made, but Preston coming back at him. Side by side again down to turn number 3. Nick has just not been by himself any lap in this race to this point. He has constantly been dealing with somebody in front of him or behind him. He did lead that last time by, so there's a bonus point for the championship contender. Guy currently sitting in 3rd in the points, and that is going to help. Down to the line, getting towards the 1/5 of the way through the race portion of the event, about 22 laps out of 20 or 125 down, so about 100 laps to go, but we're making good pace here towards the beginning of the race. Nickerson still fighting back on the outside, just finds so much pace off the exit of the corner. In the background, David Paxa's getting involved. The two Davids in 4th and 5th, they were side by side for a moment, but David Paxa got the better of that exchange, and now we'll get the better of Michael Nichols. Slide job down the inside, just sent it into the braking zone there, or should I say the lifting zone. Just slid up right in front of Michael Nichols, took some of his line away, but we're still going to be side by side heading down to turns number 2 and 3. Can Paxa get the move done? Lakey was trying to get in the equation. Paxa just didn't have the ideal line, had to back out a little bit, and Michael Nichols will get the better of him for the moment, but we're still side by side. And keep an eye on that battle up front as Preston might peek out behind the number 2 car into turn 3. He will. He's going to go for the move too. So Chopper Camera is working overtime right now. We got 2 battles going on side by side. Off of turn number 4. Nickerson trying to defend again, but Preston way to the inside, not even on the camera shot, but a half car length in front, but he is on the inside line. He's going to have to tighten it up into the corner, going to have to lift way more than Nick does. Nick will get the better run off the corner. Can Preston slide up in front? He can't. Beautiful driving on that top line from Nickerson. He's proven tough to get past tonight. And we've seen many a times in his stock car racing career in the Bandit Racing League where I've commentated him in the past. He's the kind of guy that can get out front, figure out the line, and just chug off. And we could see that again tonight, but we're side by side in turn number 3 and 4. Nickel now looking to the inside of Preston. We talk about momentum all the time in this series, and Preston's momentum might be going backwards. David Lakey got the move done on David Paxa as well. Lakey almost into the back of Michael Nickel, who had to check up hard in turn number 1. But for the time being, does get the better of that exchange and will continue onwards. David Paxa pulls out of the line. I think he's done with this section of the track. I think he's going to tuck in behind Christopher Mitchell and just let the race come to him, and that's a veteran move that I think a lot of guys are going to make tonight. If you see the battle in front of you intensifying like it's doing between David Lakey and Michael Nickel, sometimes it's just best to say, hey, take myself out of this, give myself a chance to collect my thoughts, figure the line out again, and just make more progress over the course of the race. Kind of try not to be that guy that lets the pack in behind catch up to us, but just wait for something in front of me to happen. And that's kind of what Justin Lewick did there at the start. That got him to the lead, and that's what happened with Max Preston to give him the lead after Justin's trouble. So we've seen that a couple times tonight. I think it's going to be the game plan going forward. Christopher Mitchell having a fun little skirmish here with Tanner Dignard. Mitchell up 6 spots from the start of the race. Second biggest mover after David Lakey and Marshall Crocker, each with 9 and 7 spots gained apiece. But Nickerson now up to the 7-spot window as he is side by side with Preston, trying to maintain his lead. He should do it again. Going much wider in turn number 1 and 2 than anybody else is. It's letting Preston catch up around the middle of the corner, but the runoff is just so much better for Nickerson, and it works through his advantage again. Down into the turn number 3 braking zone, and continuing to carry great pace through that corner. He is lifting barely at all, and he's still managing to hold ahead of Max Preston, who should have the slipstream down every straightaway. Big block from Max Preston on Michael Nickel, who got a great run off of turn number 4. Pushes him up to the wall, gets him to kind of back off a little bit, and gives him enough momentum to stay ahead for the time being. Jack Hillier somewhere on track having a little bit of trouble. He's jumped back to pit road, so no caution, no issue for the time being. We accidentally jumped to James Donk, who currently sits in the 13th spot, just ahead of your lap down drivers of Andrew Bedrosian and Tim Salvatore most noticeably. And Bedrosian has got the move done on Salvatore for 14th, which normally wouldn't be super important, but it is tonight because the lucky dog is in effect. When a caution comes out, the first driver a lap down will get their lap back, and currently that would go to Andrew Bedrosian. But Tim Salvatore, you got to think, is going to fight him, even if they're a lap down, to try to get that lucky dog spot back, because you know Tim Salvatore wants to be back in this, especially after being tonight's pole sitter. Back to this battle for the lead, though. Still Salvatore and Preston and Nickerson still side by side, the 2 car. Now on the bottom line, they've actually swapped lines at some point here, but no matter where he seems to go, Nick seems to have a lot of pace. But that time, Preston would have got a massive run off the corner. Had the wider line, he's been in the slipstream all straight away, but he backs off, and I think it's a good plan. You know, pick your moments. Don't make the mistake that Salvatore and Bedrosian did at the start of the race, but you know, you also don't want to give Michael Nickel behind you the opportunity to leapfrog you right up into 3rd, and you want to hold on to that 2nd spot rather than 3rd. And once you're behind Nickel, well, who knows? Maybe this pack in behind of like David Lakey, Christopher Mitchell, David Paxa can make up a little bit of ground, and they can be in the fight for the lead too. So you can't back off. You know, it's that balance of staying out of trouble, staying out of those really competitive battles that could result in a wreck, but also staying in contention for the lead, and that is the important balance we have to strike. I'm going to put our track map up here just to give you a little bit of reference for where your favorite driver is on track at the moment. So the numbers on each circle are corresponding to where they are in the timing tower. So check where your favorite driver is in the timing tower. Look for the number next to their name. That is the number they are on the track map. And Currently the top 11 within about a half a straightaway. You see Trevor Anderson in that cyan-colored 11 on the track map. About 2 corners back, about half a straightaway behind race leader Nick Nickerson. So not a ton of ground up between the rest of the field, and even Jonathan Petrone and James Donk having a fun little battle there for 12th, or at least in the very similar section of the track. So they might start battling any moment for the 12th position. They're currently half a lap ahead, so should remain on the lead lap for quite a long time. Christopher Mitchell and David Lake, yeah, keep seeing swapping spots back and forth. That would be why. Side by side in turn number 3 and 4, we're on board here with Christopher Mitchell. He is on the outside of this battle, gonna have to wash out to the outside wall just to make sure he gives enough room. He does, and two guys that have so far to this point in the season proved to be very clean. Currently Christopher Mitchell getting the better of those two, but Tanner Dignard as well trying to get involved. The 51 car has historically been good at the road course, or the ovals I should say. I believe that he maybe even got a podium last year if I remember correctly at Iowa. No, that was Caleb Campbell I should say. So, well, definitely he's been fast in the past, but Tanner Dignard yet to score a podium. Could he be another one to get his first ever podium in the series tonight? We got currently new podium sitter and Michael Nickel up there in second, but we've also got David Paxa, Christopher Mitchell, Tanner Dignard, David Lakey, Mitch Morrow, Fred Zufel, and Marshall Crocker Sr. So everybody else in the top 10 after Max Preston has yet to score a podium in the series. Tonight could be a huge night for a lot of drivers, and currently it's Mitchell and Dignard battling it out for 5th. Back up to the battle for 2nd, though, as Nickerson continues to make ground up front. 2 cars just getting in a rhythm and chugging away, but right now it's Michael Nickel there down to the bottom, trying to capitalize on any mistake from Max Preston he possibly can, but that 6 car is just driving circles around everybody, it would seem. He is just locked into a line and finding success. Rich Foligno somewhere on track has gone off, and I don't know if he's out of the session or if I just can't see him on track, but there he is out of the session. Rich Foligno, man, again, he was so great in practice, so great in qualifying, and whatever has gone wrong for him, he's out of the event again. Let's go to your full send racing replay here and see what... It must be a hardware issue. Just drove it straight into the wall off of turn number 2, just wheel got hooked straight. I don't know what went on there for Rich Foligno, but tonight is just... It barely even been a night to start racing. He just seemed to have troubles there off the bat, and he had trouble there at the beginning of that one restart where he dropped all the way back to 16. So I don't know what's been going on for Rich tonight, but sincerely hope he gets it figured out, and it's a really big shame to see, because again, every week he puts in the effort, every week he gets so quick at these tracks, and something always inevitably goes wrong. So best of luck to Rich in future weeks. We're back in 2 weeks for yet another oval at Indianapolis, and that might be the chance for Rich to get his long-awaited first win in the series. But meanwhile, back up front, Preston got the better of that battle with Michael Nickel, so much so that Nickel dropped back behind David Paxa, who now moves up into the 3rd spot. So your top 3 now, Nickerson, Preston, and Paxa here at Gateway, and this battle heating up once again, 37 laps down out of 125. Still now, Preston finally catching up to the 2 car, and he's going to peek underneath into turn 3. Is this the opportunity for Preston to finally get his lead back? I believe Nickerson led about 15 laps there on that stint. And Preston looking to the bottom. We're side by side off of turn number 4. Nickerson will still lead the lap, but Preston in the more ideal passing line heading down into turn number 1. Will he get it done? No. Nickerson continues to hold him off on the outside of the line. It's just been a stellar defensive drive for Nickerson, who didn't have a great run through the middle of the corner that time. Preston was considerably faster there off the center, but no, still Nickerson holding ahead and doing everything he possibly can to maintain that outside line, where he's looked more comfortable all night. He continues to do so, still side by side here at Gateway. This is the kind of racing we need to expect, and it's between 2 drivers who, you know, have in general in the past proven themselves as, well, in the case of Preston, a guy who is an incredible elite talent, one of the probably 5 best drivers in terms of performance in series history, but a guy who has not scored a win in a decent amount of time, and I don't believe he's ever scored a win in an oval in this series. So Max Preston potentially has something to prove tonight. I believe he's tied for 2nd all-time in series, well, this in the Cars to Computer series. I believe he's 2nd all-time in wins, tied with Andrew Bedrosian. So he's definitely found pace at road courses, but is tonight his night at the oval? And same with Nick, who won at Imola. Comes from an oval background, has yet to score a win at an oval in this series either. 2 guys we know are quick, but have something to prove tonight. They have been battling it out now for about 20 laps. What a race it's been so far here at Gateway. Nickerson gets the better of that altercation once again, takes over sole possession of the lead, and now it'll be up to Preston to try to track him down once again. We're going to go to a quick commercial break here for just a minute. We'll be back momentarily, but we will go side by side here, and you'll see all the racing action here on Full Send Racing Network, our coverage of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, Nickerson leading after 41 laps. We are back after a quick break here on the Full Send Racing Network coverage of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, and we put the car numbers up. There was a request for it in the chat, and always good. I always reference them, and I forget that you guys can't always see them, so we put them back up there. That way you know what number your favorite driver is whenever I refer to them on track. But we have had a major wreck between two guys that were doing considerably well in this race. Tanner Dignard, David Lakey, and Mitch Morrow all involved in a wreck, so we go to the Full Send Racing replay and get a replay here. There is Andrew Bedrosian down at the bottom. He sends it 3 wide into turn number 1 from a lap down, no less, trying to make up spots, and just, they were not ready for that into turn number 1. We're going to go back to the replay there just to get a little bit more perspective, but it was just Tanner Dignard trying to give room on the inside to Andrew, washed up into David, and that's where all the trouble kicked off. Netcode, too, they didn't make proper contact. Mitch Morrow sliding in there in the aftermath right after them, just same way, was not expecting that incident to happen when it did. So we're going to go from the perspective of Mitch Morrow here. Going to go on board with the driver of the number 66. Just right in front of him, nothing he could do. And I think the problem there was just Andrew coming in very late into the picture. We'll go to his cockpit view. Like, it was worth a shot. I don't know if he had the run necessarily to go for it quite that late, especially not from the lap down position, but to each their own. He's typically more of an aggressive driver anyway, and often that plays to his strengths, and you can't blame the situation on him, because you know it was a 3 wide, there was enough track space. It's the first one I've seen all race, and typically that's the way these things go. 3 wides are hard to make work. So third caution I should say of the race on lap number 45, and there is your race leader sitting right behind a couple lap cars who will get their lap back. So Tim Salvatore back in the lead lap. Justin Lulick back in the lead lap. I guess Jack Hillier is going to get the lucky dog, because Tanner Dignard, David Lakey, and Mitch Morrow, who just wrecked, are all in the pits. Actually, it might go to Justin Lulick because he still sits a lap down. But we're going to go to an in-car interview here, the first of the race so far. We're going to start with our boy, Mr. Nick Nickerson, who currently sits in the 2-car in the lead position. Let's hop in the broadcast booth, pull him up here, and get a few words with the driver of the number 2. Hey, Nick, it's Marshall up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
How's it going, man?
It's going pretty well, Nick. You're leading up front there, my man. You've battled your way through with Max. You certainly deserve to be here, and it's only 46 laps in. Feels like you've driven an entire race's worth of defense already, but yeah, you and Max are having fun out there up front. You were talking about it before the race. You thought it was going to be decently hard to pass here at Gateway. You didn't know what to expect, but it looks like you and Max were finding plenty of ways to duke it out in kind of fun and new ways. So have you changed your mind on that at all? What sort of passing track do you think we're at here tonight?
I mean, maybe a little bit. It's still very difficult to pass. I mean, I'm just, you'll just kind of, I got in the front because I just kind of threw it up there and into turn 1, and I was able to kind of slide job up a little bit, and then I was on the outside, and I was just ringing the outside, defending. Max just couldn't get enough momentum to pass me and complete the pass on a straightaway. So we'll see. Maybe the track will kind of come in a little more, and it'll give it the inside line just a little more edge, a little more run, a little more grip to possibly get more passing going on here. But yeah, I mean, I still don't know what to expect here, especially with the fresh tires.
Yeah.
Still kind of learning the ins and outs here, and trying to get the guys behind me to wear their tires out while trying to save mine. It's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, it's fun.
Well, we were 1 lap to green here. The lights in the pace car should go out this lap, so I'll let you go in a sec. But we got a couple more competitive guys that were having issues there at the beginning. We saw Andrew and Tim wreck in the very first corner. Andrew's now back in the lead lap. Tim is only 1 lap off the lucky dog. So as those aggressive guys come through the field, if you get one of those guys that don't look afraid to make a big move here about this point in the race, trying to pass you for the lead, are you going to fight him as hard as we saw at the beginning there, or are you playing the long game?
I mean, I got my defense line pretty square. I mean, as long as the inside line isn't so drastically faster, I think I'll probably be good. But I ain't gonna try to be no hero in this race. I'm still learning, so
Well,
we'll see how that goes.
What better place to learn the line of the track than the one guy who doesn't have anybody in front of him, the guy sitting in the lead. So I know you'll figure it out, Nick. You won the very first race of the series in a car you'd never run. So I have the utmost faith you can get your first oval win tonight, but I wish you the very best of luck. Knock on wood, and have some fun tonight. It looks like it's a fun track.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
There you go. Interview with current race leader Nick Nickerson, a guy that I would anticipate we're going to talk to many a times in this series, a guy I've certainly interviewed in the broadcast booth, during a race, post-race, final winners interview, anything you can possibly imagine, I've probably interviewed him in. So He's just such an incredibly talented driver. And again, that like always learning, you know, always trying to improve, and just very poised approach to racing, I think, is what has made him such an incredible driver in so many series, so many disciplines in the past. And well, it's the reason he is currently your race leader at a very technical track. But David Pax is sitting there in second, and we need to talk about the race he's quietly had tonight, because again, we'll put up the positions gained. We're gonna have plenty of stuff up here on the up in the timing tower. But he is up 8 spots from the start of the race. Both guys in the top 2 up 7 or more spots from qualifying. And that sends the entire message that, you know, I talk a lot in the past about how important qualifying is to stay out of trouble. You get to the front of the race, and as we've seen in at road courses before, if you can get the pole, sometimes you can go from start to finish in the first spot. But this is proven tonight that here at the Oval, sometimes just stand out of trouble, you're running your own line, figuring out how to stay consistent. That's most of the battle, and you just wait for guys around you to make mistakes. And that's what we always say about road courses, the more technical ones that are tricky. But the same runs true here at ovals. You know, if you wait for stuff around you to happen, guys are in closer quarters than they ever are all season. Some guys just aren't ready for it, and if you wait for them to do their thing and you stay comfortable with the track, you can find yourself up 8 spots in 47 laps, and that is what David Paxa has done so far. He starts in the second spot, heading to the restart. But the pace car is off. On to pit road. Nick Nickerson will lead the field back to green here at Gateway. We just talked to him a moment ago. Can that same calm, cool, and collected poise keep him up front for the rest of the stint? Green flag here for the 3rd time at Gateway. Through turn number 1 and 2, Nick now weaving, trying to break the draft of the guys behind him. Maybe he thinks if that battle goes long enough, he can break away enough to break out of the slipstream, and that's the way to do it. You weave around and try to minimize the tow to the guy behind. I don't think it's going to work. I think David's a little bit too close, but definitely worth a shot. It means that Nick has not given up. He's staying aggressive, even as the race leader. Whoa, look at the swerving going on now. David tried to follow him that time, tried to anticipate it. Max went with him, but almost gave Max a passing opportunity here into turn number 1, but does not for the time being. He will stay ahead. Further back, Andrew Bedrosian, we should mention, now back on the lead lap. Driver of the number 5 is back in the equation. And up front, I think that's Mitch Morrow. And Mitch Morrow and Justin Lewick have gotten tangled together. Caution comes out yet again, number 4 on the night. Mitch Morrow and Justin Lewick, you saw coming off of turn 2, get tangled for your 4th wreck of the race. Justin's 2nd of the night. I think same with Mitch too. He was caught up in the aftermath of crash number 2. So caution again, back to the full send racing replay. See what went wrong between the 55 and the 66. This is coming off of turn number 2. Here's Mitch Morrow. Okay, that was just one car after another checking up off of 2. Salvatore was behind somebody who loaded up off the exit of the 2nd turn. And let's go back and go on board here with Mitch Morrow just so we can get a better view of the turn. It's the cockpit view, which actually the chopper view will work quite well. So we'll go back to that. Coming off the turn. So Tim Salvatore loaded up first. But there was somebody in front of him. Who is that? So Jonathan Patron. We're going to go back to him off of turn number 2 here. So driver of the number 12. Here we go. So through the corner. Jonathan Patron in turns number 1 and 2. Carrying good pace. Woes it up. I think he thought he was going to get into the outside wall. Salvatore drives defensively to avoid potentially. Tries to drive to the bottom. Same thing for Lewick and same thing for Morrow. That was just kind of a domino effect. One car after another tried to avoid, and as a result, eventually somebody just ran out of track to their inside, and Mitch Morrow unfortunately went off and got into the back of Lewick. There you go. That's as simple as it gets. It was just miscommunication between a bunch of drivers, and unfortunately somebody had to lose out there, and in this case it was Justin Lewick more than anybody, as he took a pretty hard lick off the inside wall, and as such, I don't believe he was able to get it back to pit road. Nope, he did have to tow. So that is going to put him a couple more laps down, already trying to recover back to the lead lap, and that is not going to help his pursuits for his first win in the series and a decent amount of time. I believe Justin might have one career win in the series. I forget where. It's been 4 seasons now. There's a lot of history. I really should go back one of these weeks and get you guys a proper graphic to show who's won a certain number of races in the history of the series, because I always find it fun to know. But I am confident about that stat between Max and Andrew being tied, I believe, at 3 race wins all time in the series. And that is tied for 2nd because, well, the parity in this series has been plentiful in some ways and not so much in others, as then we've had the same champion for 3 seasons, and of course this being the first year that Logan Paxa has not run in the series. So we've had plenty of race winners. It's just Logan accounted for quite a few of them. We're going to go back to another interview here. Let's see who we got in the booth here, available for potentially a quick in-car with one of our drivers. A couple drivers a lap down. Don't want to go to them just because they're probably trying to strategize and think things out a little bit. We got Tim Salvatore there, who is actually just about to go back on the lead lap. So we'll go with Tim Salvatore here, get his thoughts, and watch as he should get the lucky dog pass, although he doesn't appear to be going by anybody. So we'll give him a moment. I want to make sure he's not in the middle of figuring something out on track in terms of where he should be lining up before we go up to him. No, it doesn't appear to be going around anybody, so I guess the lucky dog might have gone to somebody else. I mean, Fred Zufelt has tucked up back to the end of the line, but no, if he got the lucky dog, I wouldn't have thought he would be ahead of Tim Salvatore on track, so surely they have to assign it at some point. Might do it with a lap to go because we still have a lap under the pace car, so we'll take a break instead. We're going to go to a quick side-by-side commercial break for just a moment here as we stay under caution, just under halfway through tonight's event at Gateway, and we'll be back in just a moment here for the full Cinder Racing Network coverage of the 4th round of the 2nd season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. We'll be back in just a moment. And here we go, about to get back to green here at Gateway for the 4th round of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series 2nd season. Nickerson, your leader, coming back to green, 54 laps down of 125. Green flag here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Nickerson leads by about 4, maybe 3 car lengths down to turn number 1, ahead of David Paxa and Max Preston. We got a pretty good jump there off of the restart, but a couple of car lengths clear of Michael Nickel, who was a couple car lengths ahead of Christopher Mitchell, then Trevor Anderson, Marshall Crocker Sr., and Andrew Bedrosian making the move on Jonathan Petrone. He'll move up into the 8th spot, down 3 spots from where he started the race in 5th, but up quite a few spots where he was at the end of that first track. I think put him back to 16th or 17th. He has since recovered after that first caution, and we'll see if he smartens up there after that issue he had on the first turn with Tim Salvatore. I shouldn't say smartens up because it wasn't necessarily his fault, but we have a battle going on here. Double file for 2 rows. First off, David Paxa side by side with Nick Nickerson. Again, the 2 car on the outside of the line. It's been his dominant line all night, so until somebody can get around him or can beat him fully into the braking zone, I don't anticipate a pass anytime I see him to the outside. And no, should be good again through 3 and 4 here. Should maintain that lead for the time being. Something's going on there in the background. I see David Lakey's losing a couple spots. Preston as well. Somebody on the inside wall. Who is that? Jack Hillier's fine. Justin Lewick is fine. Mitch Morrow is off track. It must be Jonathan Petrone. It is. The 12 car has gone off track. Do we have a caution? We do. Yellow flag as the 12 car grinds to a halt off the exit of turn number 4. So we didn't have a lot of cautions for a while, but as my co-commentator and the guy that makes all the graphics for this series, Evan Wall, always says, cautions breed cautions, and we've seen it yet again. So gonna go to your full Cinder Racing replay presented by CanadianMiniIndy.com. See what happened for the number 12, and that was about as simple as it gets. Just got loose through 3 and 4. These cars can be tough to handle, especially on new tires. You got to think he probably pitted there on that last pit stop, and as a result, just wasn't up to temp with his rubber. We'll see it one more time from the in-car perspective. See if he almost managed to save it. Did there for a moment, but that last little flick and the little piece of the wall there that juts out in turn number 4 was enough to send him around. Jack Hillier actually taking pretty good evasive action there in the number 44. See his perspective. Almost slid up in front of him, but no, stayed clear, stayed clean, and Jack Hillier tonight having a pretty good little night for himself. You know, currently sitting in 14th, has avoided really every issue so far, remains on track, and remains relatively in contention. A couple of those drivers still a couple laps down. Justin Lulick and Jack Hillier both 3 laps down apiece. And David Lakey will actually get the lucky dog pass here, as Tim Salvatore for the longest time held that spot, but just lost it to the 84. So David Lakey should get the lucky dog any moment now and will be up onto the lead lap. Now 10 drivers provisionally, of course, until the lucky dog pass does go to David Lakey on the lead lap, capped off by James Donk and Fred Zufelt. Andrew Bedrosian, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, moving back up through the field since that initial wreck he had at the beginning of the race. He is all the way back up into 8th. But your new race leader, the guy who was leading at the timing line when we did take the caution, Mr. David Paxa, your current race leader, and finding success up there in that 53 car. He's just kind of been silently up in the top 10, or sorry, top maybe even 4 most of the day. He was just kind of watching that battle between Preston and Nickerson while they were fighting it out. Then he got Preston, and now he found the exact perfect opportunity to get Nickerson right before the caution came out. So David's having a good night for himself. And again, a guy that, despite his success in the series, despite being a veteran of the Snowstorm series, he's run every season since we made the name change after the Carts to Computers Racing series. David's always been a very competitive guy in the series, guy that can run in the top 5 in his day. Definitely puts in probably the most practice laps of anybody in this series. So knows these tracks like the back of his hand and just has yet to, at this point, have it translate into a podium position. But tonight could very well be the night. He's proven his pace, and he's a guy like Tim Salvatore, like Rich Foligno, for how successful they are, for how much time they put in, for how consistent they run. It doesn't make sense that they have yet to score a win in the case of Tim, or a podium in the case of Rich and David. So again, I don't want to jinx it. I never do. Knock on wood. You just heard it. But I'm hopeful for the driver of the number 53, currently your race leader. I would go there to him in the broadcast booth, try to pull him in here for a quick interview, but he's not currently in the Discord, so unfortunately we will not have the opportunity. But the lights in the pace car are still on, so we're going to interview somebody. Well, we got a moment here, and why don't we go to the guy who just got himself back in the lead lap here, Mr. David Lakey, driver of the number 84. Hey, David, it's Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Marshall, I got you. I got a lot of background noise, though.
Oh, sorry, man.
It's sound too bad on your broadcast?
No, we're all good. I can't hear anything, so we should be okay. We're just going through the field tonight. We're having a couple cautions now, so we're checking in with some drivers throughout the course of the race. And, well, you just got right back in contention. You're the lucky dog driver, so you'll be back into the top 11 here. And what's the thought tonight, David? You liking the track here at Gateway? I know it's not traditionally a stock car sort of track here, as I know your experience with the Bandit Racing League pertains to that. So how have you taken to this track so far, and what do you think your chances are of getting back through the field here now that you're on the lead lap?
Oh, man, I'm having a blast, actually. It's really fun. These cars are kind of tricky to drive on the ovals, but it's enjoyable. I think racing in the Bandit League helps out on the oval aspect of it. But I was having a great time racing with, I think it was Tanner and Mitchell. We were back and forth passing each other, and then that unfortunate 3-wide incident happened, and then I got lucky getting 2 lucky dogs back-to-back. Really, I passed Tim the last second to get it, so I feel bad for him, but I'm sure the next caution he'll be right back on the lead lap, but I'm having a great time.
Well, you got plenty of supporters from the Bandit Racing League side, some series drivers, and the actual Bandit Racing League YouTube is commenting there for you. So you got plenty of supporters. Your series, your fellow series alumni, Mr. Nick Nickerson, is up there in second. So if you can make up a little bit of ground, you guys are right next to each other on track earlier, and I'd say in just a couple laps time you could be up there with them. So best of luck, David. I'll let you get ready to head to green, but best of luck tonight, man. We'll see you at the end of the race.
I appreciate it, Marshall, and just want to say hi, Mom. I know you're watching.
Awesome, thank you. There we go. Shout out to David Lakey's mom there as we see him get back in the lead lap. So if you're here watching David right now, well, don't be surprised if you see that 84 car moving up the timing tower, because David's a guy that has had pace all season. He's 6th in the points for a reason. And tonight could be another very good night for the driver of the number 84. 2 cars out tonight, Tanner Dignard and Rich Foligno. Tanner, we just saw a comment in the chat. Hey, Tanner, sorry to see your night did certainly not go the way you were hoping, but we are glad to have you here in the broadcast. But green flag, David Paxa, your race leader for lap number 61, heads back to green, gets a pretty good jump once again. We've seen plenty of good jumps for guys all night tonight. A great jump for the top 3. Look at the gap from Preston to Nickel. Holy cow. Max Preston, Nick Nickerson, and David Paxa were not sleeping on that restart. They were nice and alert. As we see Andrew Bedrosian already weaving his way back through the field. That 5 car has racecraft for days, and he is just soaring through cars here, picking them off one by one. Just got Marshall Crocker Sr., who drops back behind him, drops down to 8th. Now Andrew's going to take a look at Trevor Anderson, and we're going to keep an eye on that battle for the lead here in just a moment. But more importantly is the battle for second, because Preston back down to the inside of Nickerson. This battle heating up again. The 6 and the 2 car have just been borderline inseparable. A great run into the corner for the 2 car. He'll get the run off too. Watch out for the 2 car in this straightaway because he got a much better run off the corner than both Paxa and Preston. David Paxa, will he defend to the inside to turn number 3? He will not. He'll just give the lineup to Nickerson. So down to the inside goes the 2 car. Comfortably takes over the race lead. No, not even. Whoa, Paxa's loose. Paxa goes into turn 4 and absolutely creams the inside wall. Mitchell caught in it. A couple drivers take evasive action. Patron's in it. I think Preston got by it. James Donk got by it. Tim Salvatore got by it. There's the caution he needed. He'll be back on the lead lap. But David Paxa just laps after I tried not to jinx him. He was having such a good night to this point in the race. And his toe should be quick because he crashed in turn 4. But that is not what we wanted for the guy who was just seconds before was your race leader. I mean, Nick got him on the inside of turn number 3 and just kind of an unorthodox line there, about a half line up there coming into turn number 3. You never really sit there. If you're coming into the corner, usually you're taking that wide line intentionally and setting yourself up for the exit of turn number 4. He kind of got forced up because he had a car underneath him into turn 3. Totally fairly so. But we'll go to it one more time. Full Send Racing Replay presented by CanadianMiniIndy.com. If you want karting in the Ontario area and you want to get started where many of the drivers in the series did, that is where you want to go. But David Paxa, man, just... it's in such a rough night for the guys I was keeping an eye on. I said to look out for it at the start of the race. Maybe the commentator jinx is real, but that is heartbreaking for David Paxa, who again is still in the race. He'll go 2 laps down, but as long as he can get back out before the end of that 3rd lap, which I think he might, he has quick repairs left. He hasn't been involved in a wreck, so he's not out of it. We're halfway through the race. You've seen how many guys have come back from multiple laps down. Andrew was 3 laps down at one point, is now back up to 4th. So don't count anybody out. We still have plenty of racing left to go, but for a couple guys, their nights are getting tougher and tougher. Trevor Anderson pits just a moment ago, so now 9 drivers on the lead lap as Tim Salvatore does get the lucky dog pass. It goes back up to the lead lap, I should say, of the race. And if he can get back to the end of the field, we'll go to an interview with him in just a moment. Tonight's pole sitter, don't forget, as back up to the front, still your race leader, Mr. Nick Nickerson. He recovers the lead after that pass in turn number 3, right before David's spin. So the 2 car, looking for his 2nd win of the season, is back in the best possible spot to do so. So it's Nickerson, Preston, Nickel, Bedrosian, and Marshall Crocker Sr., who was up in the top 5. He'll come down pit road this time on the 2nd lap of the caution. So got to try to get any fuel possible he can in that car and take as much as he can. Of course, elephant in the room, if it's your first time watching, Marshall Crocker Sr., my very own father, karting, long-time karting veteran at same place, Canadian Mini Indy, or as it was formerly known, Cameron Motorsports. He has been racing alongside me for a number of years, but he's been in karting for over 2 decades now. So as he spins the tires there on the start, waiting for his fuel to get loaded in the car, didn't appear to take tires. So he is back out. The 15 car will return to the track, still on the lead lap, and will restart in 9th. Back up to Tim Salvatore. If we get a moment, let's check up front with Nick Nickerson. The lights on the pace car still on, so we'll go to Tim Salvatore here, see if we can get him in car for a quick interview and hear his thoughts after starting on pole and getting wrecked out pretty early in the event. Hey, Tim, Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Marshall, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty well, Tim. We're doing some in-car interviews here as we've had a couple cautions now, and we're just jumping around the field. And what better guy to talk to than tonight's pole sitter, a guy who, well, the start, your prospects at the beginning were looking great, but it's been one of those nights, as we've seen in the past at ovals in the series, where a lot of guys aren't having the success they thought early. Just talk us through that first couple laps from your perspective, and what's it been like trying to recover since that wreck?
I just got a pretty good toe on the first on qualifying there, and so got really lucky, got a nice qualifying lap in. But yeah, then first few laps, it was just trying to stay out front. But it was just a lot of fun first few laps, and I just there was a couple moves there that were pretty iffy. Really wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make a corner there or not. It just kind of makes it hard if you're setting up for a corner and a car kind of just moves at the last second, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But no, other than that, but it's a long race, and I'm back on the lead lap, back in 9th here or whatever. There's probably going to be a few more few more cautions. So it's going to be a long race. So we got like 60 more laps. So
Yep.
feel like we'll be able to make something happen from here. Maybe. I mean, if we can keep.
I'm sure you're right. Andrew got back up to 4th from 3 laps down, so I have the utmost confidence in you. We're going to green here, so best of luck, Tim. Have a great rest of your
Thank
night.
you.
Maybe we'll be talking to you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
There we go, back to green. Wanted to make sure we gave him enough time to get back to the gas. But green flag here. Thanks for taking the time there in the interview, Tim. And we are back to green. Nick Nickerson leads Max Preston, Michael Nickel, Andrew Petrosian, and James Donk all the way up in the top 5, up 13 spots from 18th in qualifying. It's been a good night from the driver of the number 17th, making his 2nd career showing in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. But back up to Andrew. Keep an eye on him because, well, as the battle for the lead heats up, I think Andrew's going to be a guy that could get involved in that momentarily. Off of turn number 4, though, Nick continues his great starts, and caution comes out again, just as we talk about James Donk. What is it with these jinxes tonight? James Donk, right as we compliment the great night he's been having, he and David Lakey get involved in a wreck. That 17 is absolutely mangled. Caution number 5 tonight at Gateway. This is getting nuts. We went from 1 caution last week. I think it was maybe 4 the week before. And we're already at 5 here at Gateway. Just got loose. Just James Donk just walked it up there a little bit on entry. And well, we're going to go from the perspective of David Lakey just to see what he was looking at, because I think he'll have a slightly better view on that. But here's David Lakey coming down to turn number 3. Falling behind the 17 of James Donk. He had a great run there off the last corner. Maybe thought about a move and just nowhere to go. 17 just got loose, and it's proven tricky tonight. We saw, of course, David Paxel went off on the exit of the corner. It was on the entry that we saw issues for James Donk there. So, oh man, what a race it's been. It's proven tricky just to get around this track, and it's an oval. A lot of people will say, oval racing, ovals are a piece of cake. Just turn in circles, but it really isn't that simple, especially not in these open wheel cars that can get extremely loose. These aren't the Formula Renault cars. These are cars meant for oval racing, but perhaps not necessarily always these technical ovals with very tight bank turns. And it's really hard to find a good setup here at Gateway because, of course, you have one set of corners that is a certain kind of way, this highly banked turn 1 and 2 section, but you can't just make the setup to appeal to those corners. It also has to appeal to the much more wide, much faster paced turns 3 and 4. So it really is hard to predict here, and that's why this track is so unusually hard to drive as compared to most ovals that we will traditionally run in this series, including Indianapolis, Auto Club, and Homestead throughout the rest of the season. But Fred Zufelt is your Lucky Dog driver this lap, so with 55 laps to go in tonight's event, he will take the Lucky Dog pass, and the driver of the number 14 is back on the lead lap. Gonna go. Oh, Nick Nickerson is inside the pace car. He's having a fun time up there. The beauties of iRacing, the beauties of being in a sim is you can do crazy stuff like that. So having some fun here is Nick Nickerson. He's getting bored of these cautions, so he's just having some fun and seeing if he can make his own excitement. So we're gonna go to another quick side-by-side commercial break here. Just taking the time to do them while we have some time here under caution. We'll be back in just a moment here. As always, thank you everybody for watching. Some great, not just support, but great interaction there in the chat. Keep it going, guys. If you guys any questions to ask or anything you want to know, anything you want me to talk about, just let me know and throw it down there in the chat. But great, thank you for some of our Bandit Racing League compatriots for jumping in and showing their support tonight. Really appreciate it. So we'll be back in just a moment. Going to go to a quick commercial break here, and Nick Nickerson leading from Preston at Gateway tonight. And we're back here on the Full Send Racing Network coverage of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. Up on the top left on the timing tower, as the lights on the pace car are off, you're going to see the fastest lap of the race from every driver in tonight's event so far. And currently your fastest lap of anybody run by David Paxo, 31.261. And David is the guy we're going to be watching out for, as currently he is one lap down. Your second driver in contention on track for the Lucky Dog Pass, sitting only one car back of Christopher Mitchell, the driver who currently holds that spot. So remember, the first driver a lap down when a caution comes out does get their lap back under the Lucky Dog rule. So if you are a David Paxa fan, you're hoping for him to get back in contention to go for his first career podium in the series, or even his first career win. That's the guy you're going to be watching out for. So the battle between Mitchell and Paxa will be one to watch. But we are going back to green. Nickerson, the control car, and he is off here at Gateway. Now that is 53 laps to go, 52 this time by. We are getting through it. So getting to the end, passes are going to get more and more intense each and every lap. Justin Lewick is making a move on somebody. Just drove straight around the outside of, I think that was Jonathan Petrone there. It was indeed. We are back to green. A couple drivers getting by on the inside of him, including David Paxa, who goes right to the bottom, trying to catch up to Christopher Mitchell a little ways up the road. Back up to the lead. Everybody's starting to fan out a little bit. Andrew trying to tuck in behind Michael Nickel, get whatever slipstream he can off of turn number 4. Bedrosian is in the draft on Nickel. Both guys that have had a couple fun battles at the road courses in practice so far this season, but haven't truly got the chance to battle during a race. Here goes Bedrosian on the inside, peaks down below and goes down into a lower gear. So the better run off the corner is going to go to Nickel, but Bedrosian kind of slid up in front there off the exit of 2, kind of blocked off the run, is going to limit the pace he gets off the corner, and that pays off. Andrew Bedrosian up into third, comfortably so. And the guy sitting second in points, the runner-up behind current race leader Nick Nickerson, is doing whatever he can to maximize his points tonight, and maybe even try to chase down the guy currently beating him for the champion. Or no, he's not. Nick Nickerson's in third. Trevor Anderson's in first, and Trevor Anderson is down there in fifth. So currently, Andrew Bedrosian, especially with the bonus points he'll have from the beginning of the race, should be the provisional points leader at the moment. But of course, in order to do that, he's got to stay clean, and he is watching a 2x2 battle here. Max Preston side by side with Nick Nickerson down into turn number 3. Nickerson getting the better of that battle for now, but Preston has the much hoped for top line. That's always where you want to be in these battles. Bedrosian's going to have a run. Does he try the 3 wide? He backs off. Good move. I think that's absolutely in his best interest for now. Maybe he's learned from that incident earlier with Tim Salvatore, and that 3 wide that he forced there with David Lakey and somebody else there battling for the to get back in the lead lap. So Preston does get the move done. Uses the top side to his advantage, and it's going to be an interesting tactical, move, trying to keep that top line as it's most effective defensively. Bedrosian got under Nickerson. He almost got under Preston. What a corner for the 5 car. He's ahead of the 2 car, ahead of Nickerson. Nickerson slots in third. Nickel slots in fourth. Nickel's going to try it. Nickel almost went underneath both Bedrosian and Nickerson. Preston holds the lead for the time being, but Bedrosian is throwing a wrench in what was a very content, very chill battle up to this point. Nickerson and Preston have been having a ton of fun battling it out so far this race, but now the number 2 car has some competition, and so does Max. Andrew Bedrosian down to the bottom. Should get the move done in 3 and 4, and he does. Will slide up in front of Max. This lap will be led by the 5, and potentially many more after it. To the line, he does beat him there for this lap. So Michael Nickel trying to get involved too. Michael might peek to the bottom of Nick. Goes right to the bottom line. Don't know if we'll carry enough pace there. But will Andrew, because Max is on the top side, gets a great run off the corner. The 6 clears him once again. Andrew checks in, almost thought about jumping back up to the inside line to defend again. A little bit too late to do so, and the 2 car should take that spot back. The top 3, they're getting dicey, and Michael Nickel and Trevor Anderson sitting right behind him are in the catbird seat. If this battle goes wrong, those 2 guys are going to be right there to capitalize on it. David Paxa, I should mention, I saw in the background, pitted a moment ago, so I don't know what that was for. Maybe new tires, maybe more fuel to get to the end, whatever it is. He goes an additional lap down, now back to 10th. Christopher Mitchell comfortably holding that Lucky Dog spot right now. Speaking of the Lucky Dog, caution comes out again, right in the middle of what was a very fun battle for the top 3. And I see nothing on track that would have caused it. I have nothing on my telemetry that says why that was thrown, so might have been a manual caution from our race director. Could just be a situation that I am unaware of, and that has happened in the past, so I don't mean to suggest that's not it. So maybe it is. Maybe we're just getting a wreck for something or a yellow for something we can't see on track, in which case, well, we're going to run a couple more laps Under yellow. That is why Marshall Crocker Sr. significant damage to the 15 car. Something has gone wrong for him. He gets to pit road though, so he won't lose a lap. He does get his quick repair. Should stay ahead of Christopher Mitchell because he should get packed back up to the end of the racing line before Chris gets his lucky dog. So we'll put up the track map just to make sure I'm right about that. But the field coming out of turn number 4. If he can get out in time, if he can get out of pit road, fast repair, and he's off. So he will stay on the lead lap. Is going to lose the spot to Fred Zufelt, who's going to jump up into 7th. But Crocker's still on the lead lap. But if things go haywire here in these last 45 laps, just being on the lead lap might not be the wrong place to be. But as I mentioned, Christopher Mitchell is going to get the lucky dog this lap. So that position for the next caution would then go to David Paxa, who now, after whatever that pit stop was for, gets back in the catbird seat. And with 2 more cautions, could find himself back in contention, and 45 laps to go. Would not be surprised if we did see those 2 cautions. So look at the Discord, see if anybody else has popped in. Maybe somebody we can talk to. No, it wouldn't seem so. We've talked to everybody we can possibly use in the Discord. So it's going to be about it for now. We got 44 laps left to go in tonight's event. Going to do a couple more laps under caution. Tim Salvatore is headed into the pits as well. He is, remember, back on the lead lap after his lucky dog passes from earlier after that initial wreck at the beginning of the race with Andrew after starting on the pole. So Tim trying to get back into the equation as Marshall Crocker Sr. out of the pits, stays in the lead lap, and Christopher Mitchell is getting his wave around as we speak. So 9 drivers back on the lead lap. Then it's the 2 Davids in 10th and 11th, both 2 laps down, along with James Donnock in 10th, 11th, and 12th. So that'll be the battle for the next transfer spot for the lucky dog on the next caution, should we get one. Then it's Lewick and Hillier in 13th and 14th, not sure in which order. Jack Hillier off track, running a little bit of the grass there, heading back to pit road. And Justin Lewick is off track, so Jack Hillier will go back to pit road, so that spot will go to Lewick. And Jonathan Petrone, what lap is he on? He's coming down pit road as well. He is 4 laps down, Mitch Morrow 6, and that is the end of your field. Remember, Tanner Digner and Rich Foligno tonight for a variety of issues. In the case of Tanner, it was that 3 wide with David and Andrew. And in Rich's case, I think it must have just been hardware. It was a number of things kind of adding up there for him. So that is your field, and here is your top 5. At the time of caution, it looks like the timing lines gave the lead to Max Preston, who will be your race leader heading back to the next restart. His first time, I think, all race. I think it's his first restart from the lead. Then it's Andrew Bedrosian, Nick Nickerson, Michael Nickel, who almost had a shot there at the top 3. He was definitely peeking his nose in there on a couple occasions there in that last battle. Trevor Anderson, who silently had a great race for himself, the points leader heading into tonight, and this is why, for good reason. He's just always there, always in points, contention, and never makes mistakes. But he's very quick in his own right. I mean, he won the only other oval race of this season so far for very good reason. So don't be surprised if Trevor Anderson comes away with the win tonight. Fred Zufelt sitting there in 6th. Tim Salvatore quite a ways back down the field in terms of actual track position, because there's a couple cars between him and Zufelt. Or no, there's not. Okay, so the lap cars have been sent to the back, which is nice because it means the top 9, or at least the top 8, because Christopher Mitchell's a little ways back there. He's behind a couple lap cars as the lucky dog driver. But that means the top 8 will get a proper chance to battle on this restart. So there's Tim Salvatore, and there is Marshall Crocker Sr. So lights in the pace car are still on, but they should be off as we cross this time by. And there we go. Start of lap 83. Lights in the pace car are off. So it's going to be 41 laps to go here on the restart, or 42, including the first lap we go green. Preston warming the tires up. Same with Bedrosian, same with Nickerson. And now is the time I'm going to throw it to you guys. 40 laps is a pretty good number of laps to start making some predictions. So I will leave it to you guys. Make some predictions in the chat. We got 25 people at the moment. So thank you, everybody, for coming out and spending your Sunday night with us to cap off your weekend with some great Snowstorm Series action. Hope whatever driver you're here supporting has had a pretty good night so far, or is somewhere in the top 5, somewhere in the top 10. But now is your time. Throw your predictions in the chat. If you have any bold predictions about how the race is going to end, if you want to get even more bold than just the winner, feel free to throw those in there. But throw your winner predictions for what's going to happen here towards the end. Anything you want, and maybe on the next caution we'll have some stuff to read through, and we'll do some proper chat interaction, because I feel like oftentimes I'm too busy with this series, don't have an alternate monitor with the comment section on it, unfortunately, so I only get a chance to check here under caution. But throw some predictions there. Let's start hearing it. Plenty of you guys in here, and I want to get you guys involved. So with that, we are ready to go for your next restart of the race, led by Max Preston, Bedrosian, Nickerson, Nickel, and Anderson, your top 5. Preston waiting nice and late, checks the whole field up on the restart, but green flag here at Gateway. Further back, plenty of guys just did not get going off the start there. Crocker into Paxa. There is another wreck. David Paxa just after trying to get back on the lead lap, after just becoming the next eligible driver for the Lucky Dog, gets involved in the restart wreck here. After what was a bizarre little start there, Preston went extremely late, and that's not a problem. You know, it's in his right to do so, but just the domino effect there. There's no other way to put it. Let's go to this part of the track, because something happened here. Crocker Sears just way off the pace on the restart. He just did not find a way to get going for some reason. I don't know if it was just he was trying to stay back of that chaos in front. We'll go to his perspective. But whatever it was, he was going much more off the pace than the guys in behind were expecting. Okay, just 15 cars got collected here. Let's go to the very back of this line. Let's find somebody back here who had a good view. Jack Hillier should have a good view. Maybe Christopher Mitchell. There's a good view. So somebody, I think it was Crocker that slowed up a little more than David Paxa may have been expecting on the restart. Like Paxa got into him initially, that sent him into the outside wall. He hit David Lakey. Morrow got involved. Christopher Mitchell made it through unscathed, but I don't know who to go to there. We'll go to David Paxa there. We'll go to. I just want to get replays on presented by Canadian Mini Indy Full Send Racing replays until we really get a handle on what happened here. So I'm gonna go to the driver's perspective because I always want to see what the drivers are looking at just to get full context for their vision. Because when we see from the chopper camera that he was going to check up, well, we know that, but David did not. Yeah, I don't know what the checkup was for. I got to be honest, but whatever it was, David was not anticipating it. He locked up the brakes trying to stop. Did a bit of a last-minute swerve to the right. That's when he caught David Lakey, and that's what really kicked all the chaos off. So both Davids involved in a single wreck. Both guys who were having very good nights tonight to this point. Of course, both David Lakey and David Paxa were involved at wrecks at some point, but they were doing a good job to recover, and they were about to have a really fun battle for the Lucky Dog spot. But unfortunately, that battle is one we will never apparently get to witness, as both drivers have been involved in a wreck once again. There's a chance David Paxa did get back to the pits, and it looks like he has. So David Paxa got back to the pits, or maybe hasn't yet. That front right tire is totally caved in. Let's go to his camera. Just get the perspective from the 53. Yeah, there's the tire kind of bouncing around and having a fun little time there on the front right side of the car. Yeah, I agree very much with the comment there. Oh man, indeed. It's probably the most caution-filled night maybe we've ever had in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series, and I came into tonight thinking, great racetrack. We didn't have that many wrecks in practice this week. I was feeling good, but tonight clearly we were all feeling a little bit more aggressive than perhaps we were other times throughout the season, and of course there were a couple guys that just got loose, and understandable, the conditions here in a race are going to be different than practice. You can try to set a session as close as possible to the race conditions, but there's always going to be those little differences, so guys getting loose isn't unheard of, and it's something we've seen a couple times tonight. But unfortunately, it has cost a couple of drivers' nights, and final quick repair taken for David Paxa, so still will remain your Lucky Dog driver provisionally, although because of that pit stop, he's going to lose that right. I believe it's going to go to James Dog, so the driver of the number 17, who, remember, was 5th in tonight's race order before a little bit of a mistake, and I think it was turn number 3 he got loose and locked it up a little bit, but has since recovered, so he should go back to only a single lap down here with this Lucky Dog pass that he should get in just a moment. So it'll be Mitchell, then Donk with a 1 lap down, then Justin Lewick and David Paxa each with 2 apiece, then Jack Hillier with 3, Jonathan Patron with 3, and Mitchell Morrow with 6. And David Lakey is coming out of pit road as we speak, or at least he should be. I don't know how he passed somebody from pit road, but apparently that's what happened. David Paxa gets his spots back. I don't know if they still think he's the Lucky Dog driver or what's happening, but whatever it is, guys are swapping and flipping, flopping around everywhere. So hopefully they get that figured out in just a moment, as iRacing is sometimes not the most easy to understand platform, certainly, but they'll figure it out. I'm confident they'll get a handle on what's going on. Back up to the front, Max Preston has, he's seen the lights in the pace car in front of him go off, so Max Preston will be your provisional race leader. Remember, we are 37 laps to go to the finish here at Gateway, and we do have green-white checker finishes if necessary. So if we get a caution before the final lap, or we get a caution that would force the race to end under caution under a safety car, if we did not have a green-white checkered finish, then we will have one. We're going to go to 2 more extra laps, kind of overtime if you want to think about it that way. So we'll do 1 lap to the white flag. If we get another caution here before the end of that second to last lap, we'll get another green-white checkered. We'll try 3 times for one of those if necessary. But if the white flag comes out, the next flag ends the race. And usually in iRacing, that is only the checkered flag. They don't usually do cautions on the last lap. So that will be a situation at the end. We want to make sure we finish under green, and we want to make sure we get a proper, great, iconic Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series finish here to the end, and that's what I'm certainly hoping for. Tanner Dignard says he's hoping for the big one in the chat. I think we're probably going to see it if we haven't already, but green flag. 3 very aggressive drivers up front. Preston, Bedrosian, Nickerson all have claim to the race win based on their pace, and we will see who will take it. 9 drivers within 2.5 seconds here on the restart at Gateway. James Donk battling with Justin Lewick there behind David Paxa. That's the battle for the next transfer spot for the Lucky Dog if we get another caution. But Preston, your leader, must defend from Bedrosian down to turn number 3. Bedrosian peeking underneath. The 5 and the 6 gonna go side by side to turn number 3. And Bedrosian gets the spot once again. I think when Andrew really sets it up, he gets an entire straightaway's worth of run up and just lets it rip. He is almost unstoppable on defense. Late block for Preston. If I'm Preston, that's one where I'll be saying, okay, maybe this is where we start getting a little bit more aggressive. I think it's what happened with Tim Salvatore. Just, if a guy makes a block on you late, sometimes you say, okay, if I get a chance to pass him, whenever I get the next opportunity, I'm going to be a little bit less nice. And I think that's what we saw from Preston. A late move in turn number 1, and he gets it done. Back up to the race lead. I wish we had a live counter of number of laps led, because that's got to be going off the charts. I think it's Nick Nickerson to this point in the race. He was dominant there about middle of the event, but side by side for a moment when Bedrosian and Nickerson's trying to find his way by. We're going to go on board with the driver of the number 2 as we come through turns number 1 and 2. He got right up to the back bumper of Bedrosian, but I think it was just that when he got out of line to try to pass Preston had the high line, and so did Nickerson. That bottom line, just this late in the event, does not appear to have the pace. Like, there's grip down there, but you just get such a good run off the corner from this outside line. Nickerson now going right to the white line. Gonna sit in the slipstream. If Andrew gives him the top line, he might go straight by him. He doesn't. He does block. But is Nickerson gonna try the bottom? No. Whoa, late block again from Andrew. Guys are gonna start getting fed up with that, because that's such high-speed tracks like Gateway. There's no room for error. If a guy does that in front of you and you run right into the back of him, even if you're not trying to make the move, that's your race done and that's his race done. And any wing damage in these cars is crucial, is critical. That'll take you out of the event. So that's what we're hoping not to see. Side by side though for 5th is Nickel and Anderson. Trevor Anderson finally not content with the 5th place he's been in for quite a long time tonight. Now he's trying to get the move on Michael Nickel, who does hold him off. It's been a nice little night for Michael Nickel so far in the 23. Just start to finish, has done everything he's had to hold off whoever has tried to challenge him. And remember, for a moment there, he was in contention for this battle for the top 3. Where is Nickerson going to find his opportunity? Peeks underneath. No defense this time from Bedrosian. But can Nick get it done from the bottom line? Preston was a little bit slow in corner entry there. I thought maybe one of these guys would even get underneath him. But we're side by side through turn number 3 and 4. A couple spots, swap it around further back. We'll go to that in just a moment. Gonna go to your track map here. Bedrosian does beat him to the gas off of turn number 4. So the 5 car holds on to the 2nd spot. Drops low to try to defend on Nick. Keep an eye on this track map here. A couple drivers on pit road as we speak. James Donk just exiting at the moment. So now the battle for the Lucky Dog spot goes to David Paxa and Justin Lewick alone. The only other driver still on pit road is David Lakey, currently 11 laps down, trying to fix his damage if possible. I believe he is out of quick repairs. Nickerson off the top line, should get a better run off the corner, but he is getting reeled in a little bit by this battle for 4th again. Michael Nickel and Trevor Anderson, I should say, 30 laps to go. They're getting back in contention for this battle, and just like that, Trevor Anderson only finds himself 7/10 down on your race leader here, sitting in the 5th spot. That tells you how close things are getting here at Gateway. Here we go, on board with Trevor Anderson coming through turns number 3 and 4. Up front, you see side by side, here we go Nickerson and Bedrosian. Nick a little bit of a bobble on the bottom side. That could be the move for Trevor Anderson, as Michael Nickel has to check up to avoid it. Can he take advantage of the situation? No, he's going to back off once again. So Trevor Anderson doesn't feel like taking any of these last-minute dives into Michael Nickel's inside. Whoa, that was some close quarters racing there. Andrew did not give Nick any room there on the outside. He said he's going to squeeze him as hard as he can. And Nick was a smart enough driver to back out. Gave him just as much room as he needed on the outside. We stay green, but this racing is not sustainable. Look at the last minute checkups guys are making. Nick had to dive out of the way there. And now he's got Michael Nickel to the inside. So the Nick versus Nick connection. First and last name respectively. And this has been what a last couple laps here. It's so interesting because Max has led a decent portion of this stint, but he isn't breaking away. Like Andrew and Nick are battling it out there for 2nd, but not in such a way that is losing them time to Max. And as long as Andrew can stay in Max's slipstream, that 6 car can't make up virtually any ground on him. So it's proven tough tonight for these drivers. They're trying to find any opportunity whatsoever to get by your race leader, and that seemed like the spot to be all night. As many passes we've been seeing, it's been mostly for second, third, fourth, fifth. The race leader's been tough to pass, and right now, as close as they can get to him, nobody seems to be able to get by Max Preston coming to 25 laps to go. So your top 5 kind of out on an island here up front. 2.5 seconds back is Tim Salvatore here, currently sitting in 6th, all by his lonesome. It's been a great recovery for him in points tonight, you know, coming away with 6th place points in his championship run that is, you know, it doesn't tell the full story of the championship points we showed earlier because he has missed a race and he does have a drop race, but Tim Salvatore trying to get back in contention. Will have the bonus points for pole tonight. Could be a pretty good night for him overall, but he's just too far back to meaningfully get into this battle again without a caution. But Nickerson makes the move on Bedrosian and might get the double on Preston right underneath. We almost went 3 wide. Bedrosian says it's time to go by 2. Momentum is huge in this series, and Preston lost 1 spot, and he might lose another. Off of turn 4, Nickerson side by side with Preston again. Preston's not giving up. He's got the top line. Can Bedrosian send it underneath? I think it's a little bit too late for him. He backs off. This is getting dicey. James Donk up top. They got to get by him somehow. Can they avoid him? They can. Preston and Nickerson still side by side. Is Nickel going to try it on Bedrosian? He's in the slipstream. He's got an opportunity. On board with Michael Nickel. What is he looking at here? He's right behind Nickerson. Where did Bedrosian go? He got by. So Michael Nickel up to 3rd. Andrew Bedrosian, after lap by lap, just continuing to attack the 2 leaders. Is Preston back to the inside on Nickerson? I cannot get a break here. These guys are just every corner dicing and swapping around. Still side by side go Preston. He almost cleared him off in turn number 4. Has he cleared him? Has he cleared him? He just has. Preston back to the front. Nickerson back to the inside. Bedrosian back to the inside. He's got Nickel back for the time being. Hey, that's a kind of a fun pun to accidentally make, but inside, Nickerson back to the inside of Preston, and Bedrosian might take a look. I don't even know what to say anymore. Just look at this battle. Anderson now underneath Bedrosian. Almost went 3 wide. He backs out again. Trevor is being nice and conservative tonight, taking his time. I think it's a good approach. That's the approach we could look back on at the end of the race and say that's what won Trevor the race, but you never know. Preston again gonna try it. I'm just gonna put it on chopper camera, and we're gonna do a couple laps letting you guys watch this, because what a battle it's been. Trevor Anderson sneaking into the top 3 there. Gets to the outside of Andrew Bedrosian and picks up another spot. So Trevor Anderson goes from 5th for almost the entire race to a comfortable 3rd, maybe even a 2nd. He's got a great run off of turn number 4. Preston might lose a spot. Nickel peaks to the bottom on Bedrosian. He peaks on Anderson. We're 3 wide on entry. Nickel backs out, thankfully. Bedrosian gets underneath Preston. He almost gets the double. He got Anderson there into the braking zone. Anderson, though, back on the outside. Is Bedrosian clear? He somehow is. Marshall Crocker Sr. somewhere on track has gone off. No caution as of right now. The 15 car off the pace. We'll go to this in a second. We'll go to the full set racing replay. But the leaders go by, and we're still side by side between Preston and Nickerson. It feels like almost every lap in the last 50, it's just been these 2. The 2 and the 6, and to some extent the 5. But these 3 are just inseparable. Incredible the way they've been able to avoid each other and still maintain such a competitive race. Down to 20 to go next time by here at Gateway for what has been such a fun event to this point. And whoever wins this is going to be the most deserving winner I think we've had all season. Marshall Crocker Sr. does make it back to pit road, so if he's got a quicker pair left, he should get back on track with relative speed, and thus might stay only a single lap down rather than 2. No, he does go 2 laps down now, so David Paxton could pick up another spot. The question will be, can Marshall Crocker become the lucky dog driver here if he can get on track quick enough? But Andrew back past Trevor Anderson, 20 laps to go now. Michael Nickel still in contention. Only one potential first-time winner here in this top 5, and it is Michael Nickel. He is behind a number of experienced veterans. He just peeked to the inside on 1, got a little bit too far down to the inside, caught a little bit of curb, but Michael still going to run off the corner. Nick way to the outside. What a line through turns number 3 and 4. Gets through cleanly, but Andrew's going to go with Preston. He's going to try to fall in behind Nickerson. Gets around the outside of Preston. That's the more ideal line. Preston gets a good run through the middle of the turn, but Andrew did have the outside line. We're 2 wide in front. Andrew would have to go 3 wide here to get the pass done into 3. I don't think he feels like doing it. He's boxed in, so he can't. Preston maybe trying to box in Andrew Bedrosian, because if he can just focus on Nick for a couple laps, not look in his rearview mirror, not worry about a 3 wide move into a corner, maybe he's got the pace and the line necessary to get by Nick. But that 2 car right now, just in terms of actually leading laps, I mean, Preston can get ahead on the backstretch, but Nick always finds a way back in 3 and 4. That 2 car just looks like a borderline impenetrable wall right now, despite how close this race has been. Further back, just keeping an eye on Tim Salvatore's times. As fast as he's been, he is not able to catch this pack. He's just out of the slipstream, and caution comes out. That is huge, and it's Jonathan Petrone who has gone off track, and the 12 car is going to bring out caution number. I think Heather in the chat said it was getting towards double digits. I don't know if this is actually the case, but if anybody happens to have counted to this point in the race, feel free to let me know, because I am very curious. But wow, good to get a bit of a break here as Jonathan Petrone has brought out another yellow. But see what went wrong here for the driver of the number 12, who tonight it's been a great sophomore performance for him so far. He's really been coming to terms with this Indy Pro car. It's his first time in this car in the series since making his debut last week at Mid-Ohio, and he was in the top 10 for most of the early portion of the race. In this case, it's just he's gone a little bit wide off the exit of turn number 4, and the car just got a bit of a wiggle there, got a little bit too high towards the wall, and just caught a little bit of that outside right front, and just like that, finds himself in the outside wall. And iRacing throws the caution as the leaders come up towards him. But this is huge. This has huge implications. And the question is, does anybody feel like taking tires, taking fuel? Does anybody need tires or fuel? Because when we go back to green, I would anticipate we're probably going to have 13, maybe 12 laps to go. Not a ton of time at all. And at this point, it's just, if you're in the top 8, I mean, David Paxel will get a lap back as the lucky dog, so he'll move up to only a single lap down. That will help as you see the 53 car go by on the outside. We'll ride along with him for just a minute. But yeah, it's gonna help. Like he'll be back to the lap down, but we would need another caution then for him to get back on the lead lap. And with only 12 laps to go there at the very end, I've seen crazy things. We've seen late wrecks in this series. I don't know if we've ever seen a wreck quite that late that has then had enough time for the driver that gets back on the lead lap to make up that time. Because even if David does get another lucky dog, then he goes to the back of the pack, doesn't get sent up to the race leaders, because the lap cars get sent to the back of the field on each caution, but he would not get to jump by the lap cars. So he's still in it, theoretically. And the fact that he's made it all the way back here, despite the adversity he's faced, despite that wreck that we saw earlier between him, David Lakey, Marshall Crocker Sr., if he can get back in contention from there, well, who's to say he couldn't go for the win as well? But certainly it's going to take a bit of a miracle, but that is what racing is all about. We've seen plenty of miracles this season, or at least last year in racing, in the real world, whether it be Max Verstappen's miraculous late race caution that let him win the Formula 1 championship over Mr. Lewis Hamilton, or if it's Kyle Larson's late race miraculous pit stop that helped him win the NASCAR championship, going, I think it was 2 seconds faster than any other pit crew. That was absolutely absurd. 2021 was a great year for racing moments, and maybe not for a ton of other stuff, but hopefully 2022 is the year of the Snowstorm Series in regards to some great racing product, and I think we've certainly seen it tonight. I really hope you guys have been having a great time watching this race tonight, as I have. I hope your favorite drivers are involved in here somewhere. I'm trying to spread around the field and trying to give love to everybody as much as I possibly can, and well, we got a couple more drivers factored into the equation. Tim Salvatore should be tucked up right behind Michael Nickel on this next restart. And don't forget, Michael Nickel was right behind that battle for the lead. He had a pass on third setup, maybe even second, depending on how that last stint was going to go. But now we've got the pole sitter in the equation too. Same with Fred Zufelt, driver of the 14. Same with Christopher Mitchell, driver of the 94. All 8 drivers on the lead lap are now tucked up behind one another. The lights in the pace car are still on, but I don't know. I think it's all to play for. I'm going to leave it to you guys to make some predictions in the chat. I'm hesitant to make my race prediction because, as we've seen a couple times tonight, my predictions are they're having a tendency to get jinxed the moment after I talk about them. I think the most egregiously of all was talking about James Donk seconds before his wreck there, his first of the race, and his first and only to this point. James Donk has otherwise been very well put together tonight, and it hasn't had any issues, and has been actually running some pretty good lap times by the look of his telemetry. So good little night for James Donk. I was hoping for more from him. He was up there in the top 5 for most of the middle portion of the race, but one little mistake, unfortunately, and that's all it takes in a night as competitive as tonight at Gateway to find yourself sitting there in 13th. But we've still got plenty more racing to go, and he's on the same lap as a couple other drivers. So James Donker, well, he's 1 lap off from Hillier and Crocker, so don't be surprised if you see the driver of the number 17 in the top 10 before the end of the race. But the lights on the pace car are off. I'm going to take one more last sip of water because it's going to be quite the run to the finish. 12 laps to go here at Gateway. Oh man, it's nights like tonight where I get even more grateful to have guys like Jack Hillier making their appearance in the booth every once in a while. Thank you again to Jack for his appearance last week at Mid-Ohio as our color commentator. But the pace car takes the left-hander off to pit road. 13 laps to go here as we go green at Gateway to the finish. Your top 8 all in the lead lap, all getting lined up. Green flag, Nick Nickerson, who has led the most laps of anybody tonight, looks to take the points lead off the back of what has been an incredible drive so far, but he's got 2 very hungry drivers behind him to hold off. Preston and Bedrosian back on the gas pretty quick on lap 1. Off of turn number 2, Bedrosian in the slipstream. Can he get the move done right at the very beginning of the stint? Down to the inside, heading to turn number 3. Nick is also there. Can he get a 2 for 1? He can! Down to the inside. Now he's side by side with Nickerson. The 2 car way to the outside. Bedrosian might clear. He does clear. Andrew Bedrosian. What a move. 2 for 1. That is the driver we're used to seeing here. And Andrew Bedrosian takes the lead with 12 laps to go. Nickerson fighting back on the outside, a little bit too high though. He'll get a good run off the corner. If he can set the slipstream up, he might have a shot. Andrew's going to stay to the inside though, going to give the toe to the 6 of Max Preston. Trevor Anderson quietly getting by Michael Nickel as well, so Trevor Anderson is still remaining in the top 4. Now Nickerson and Preston are side by side. Andrew takes over sole possession of the first spot. Last week's winner, can he go 2 for 2, get his first oval win of the season? Now 11 laps to go. He is a couple car lengths clear now. He's finding some pace somewhere that Nick just couldn't quite make up as the race leader a little bit earlier, a couple laps ago. But now that I say that, Nick Nickerson, I think he's just got a slightly different line. You know, he's running much wider. There we go. There's his opportunity. The late block once again from Bedrosian, but Nickerson makes him pay for it. Can Preston do what Bedrosian did to him just a moment ago and go with Nickerson as he makes the move on Bedrosian? Can the 2 car clear as we come off of turn number 4? I don't think he can. So Andrew is still there, not clear yet. Andrew even leads the lap. They almost make contact. Look at how close they're coming. Down to turn number 1 and 2. Now Anderson's in the fight. Trevor Anderson gets by Preston. There we go. Andrew gonna dive to the inside. Gonna try the crossover off of turn number 2. Won't work provisionally for the time being, but Anderson's got a great run here off of turn number 4. So does Preston. I thought Max was gonna think about the 3 wide. I was really hoping he wouldn't. And he doesn't. It'll make for entertaining racing, but that's almost certainly going to be a crash at this point in the race. Off of turn number 4. We're going to stay in this view for a couple laps because this is a great way to watch the action. Now 9 laps to go here at Gateway. Nickerson again to the outside. Didn't lead the lap, but he led into turn 1. He's in the more ideal line. He'll get a better run off the corner. Trevor Anderson nailed it to a T there. This could be his opportunity. Trevor getting boxed in there on the outside. Bedrosian almost squeezed him into the wall. Nickel gets Preston too. Now he's to the inside of Anderson. Michael Nickel might get involved at any moment. Bedrosian Nickerson though, still your battle for the lead. Coming at 8 laps to go. Now Tim Salvatore's in it. Where did the 91 car come from? It's a 6-car race at the front. Fred Zufelt 3 seconds back. This is going to be your battle for the win. Keep an eye on a caution. Nickerson a little bit of a bobble there in turn 1 and 2. Got a little bit loose off the exit of the corner. Bedrosian goes up to block. He does clear, so Trevor Anderson now in the catbird seat on the inside. Bedrosian up to block Anderson. Anderson deacon everywhere. A double block from Bedrosian. Not technically legal all the time, but it's legal at the oval. Anything goes this late in the race. And Bedrosian I should say, fighting for everything he's worth to try to hold the lead. Now 6 laps to go here. 7 I should say, at Gateway. Nickerson now around the outside once again, the furthest up he's been into that braking zone all race. This could be his opportunity, but Trevor Anderson now, a really interesting name to have sitting there in 3rd. Preston holds off Salvatore, who looks like quite a hard charger at the moment. Salvatore gets Nickel, so can Salvatore set something up? Can Tim be the hero here after starting on the pole? Every race Tim runs in this series, it's always really good in qualifying, or at least races here at the ovals. He does great in qualifying, and something goes wrong in the race. Has he gotten that out of the way? And is this Tim Salvatore's night? We will find out. But Preston down to the inside. Yellow flag comes out. That is massive. as Bedrosian, your race leader, heading to that caution. So it should be Andrew, Nick, Max, Trevor, Tim, I would imagine, at least based on where they looked like they were coming into turn number 1. So caution comes out. It's for Jack Hillier. We're going to go to the Full Send Racing replay presented by CanadianMiniIndy.com. There is Jack Hillier running through turn number 1 and 2. Gets in the outside wall off of turn number 2. Simple as that. Just could be cold tires, could be getting in the marbles. You never know, but it is a... I think because we've seen so many laps of guys running side by side, having these incredible battles, I think we've slowly over the course of the race underestimated or come to underestimate just how hard this track is solo. And it really is. I assure you that wrecks like that are plentiful. Everybody was wrecking solo in practice this week. It's just, you get in a rhythm after a while, and that's made a little bit easier when each and every lap the car to your inside or your outside is in the exact same lane. You know, guys are doing a good job here as aggressive as this race has been. Important to mention, David Paxa will now get back on the lead lap. Remember, he won't get tucked up to the back of this pack here with the other guys in the lead lap, but he will get put back on the lead lap. So David Paxa has recovered all the way back from what has been a very, what's the word? I would say, I guess, action-packed night here at Gateway, but maybe action-packed in some of the wrong ways. Just getting caught in a couple of things there. Again, not his fault. I never say that to mean the drivers in their own right or by their own doing, not having a good night. But he's had a little bit of adversity is the word I was looking for tonight, and it's certainly an impressive showing from him to recover all the way back up to 9th. We are going to go to one more quick caution break as we get ready for your final restart of the race. Throw down there in the chat anything you want to talk about, anything you want me to mention, any race predictions you have. I'm really curious to see where you guys think this is going. Andrew takes the lead back after what has been an extremely up and down competitive race all the way through tonight. But we've seen plenty of times tonight, as Andrew most recently did to Nick, it is possible to get by somebody. And anything Nick has been saving up, this will be the opportunity to use it. So I'm going to go to a brief side-by-side commercial break. Throw your predictions there in the chat, and we'll talk about them in just a moment for what might be, unless we get a green-white checkered, your final restart of the night. There you go. We just finished up a brief run through of the entire field there, the entire order, just so you guys get a bit of a handle on where guys still are, maybe what their gloves look like or what the inside of their cockpits look like. But let's go through the top 10 once again. Andrew Bedrosian, currently your race leader. Can he hold on to the win in the last 2 laps? As he's done a number of times in the past. He's pretty good at holding on to leads once he gets them, but Nick Nickerson, has he figured it out? The quick learner, as we've come to know him in the series, won his very first race of the season, the very first race of the season, I should say, of his season, but also his career in the series. He's going to have the pace. So will Max. So will Trevor. So will Tim, who sits in 5th. Michael Nickel in 6th. Fred Zufelt in 7th. Christopher Mitchell in 8th. David Paxa in 9th. All the way at the back of the running order. He is not going to be able to get by the lap cars until the next caution or under green. Andrew Bedrosian way early. Holy cow. Green flag for Andrew Bedrosian. He takes off on the restart there. A 2.5 seconds clear of Nick Nickerson going to the green. Nick was just not in gear. David Paxa further back in the field. He's up to green, but it appeared on screen in my telemetry for a second that he had crashed. We are 2 laps to go. Caution does come out in time. Jonathan Petrone has gone around. Okay, so I was gonna say I don't want it to end like that. That was a huge jump off the restart there. So props to Andrew, that was huge, but that was not gonna be the fun way to end this race. So Jonathan Petrone, what in the? I don't know what to call that. I don't know what I just watched. Cockpit view for Jonathan Petrone here. Watch on board. Oh, okay. He had damage of some sort. I don't know if he tapped the wall with the outside of the car, if it wasn't fully repaired yet, but he was pointing that wheel straight, and the car did not go straight. So caution number, whatever caution we're at. I don't have a tracker here, unfortunately. At least not in this telemetry setup. So unfortunately, we do not know, but I know it's a lot. And I know it's been going to be a crazy finish to the race. So, oh, what an event it's been so far. It's truly been a fun one. I really hope you guys stick with us because we have green white checkers for a reason. We will finish this race under green somehow. It's just it's gonna be worth it. I have the feeling. And somebody just made a great point. I think it was Tanner in the chat there. Last lap, they're going to get too aggressive and wreck the top 5. I would not be surprised in the slightest if that is how this race turns out. I got to be honest. In my opinion, I think Andrew is currently the guy to beat just because he's going to get a good jump on the restart. The guys behind are only going to have 1, maybe 2 opportunities to pass. We'll see how aggressive they get. But Tim Salvatore and Michael Nichols sitting right back here in 5th and 6th, we've seen how quick they are. They know how to run in traffic. We know Tim is quick. We know he knows what he's doing in the slipstream because that's how we took the pole tonight. He's sitting right behind there. Same with Trevor Anderson, who's had a really quiet night for somebody who's been in the top 5 literally the entire event. And then Preston as well. We've seen him compete for the lead he's led over 10 laps tonight. And then, of course, Nick and Andrew. Like, I don't think this is done whatsoever. 2 laps is an eternity in tonight's terms here at Gateway. So here we go. Might be the last caution of the race. We have, as you can see, we have passed the initial 125 lap duration. We're going to take 3 attempts at a green-white checkered. If we get the white flag, if we run just 1 green flag lap here in this next restart, we will take the next flag as the checkered flag. So Andrew's sitting quite a ways back in the pace car here to warm up the tires. It's a pretty common mover in these cars, common maneuver I should say, to speed up really quick, slam on the brakes. It's the quickest way to warm the tires up. I don't know why. I would really rather it be weaving, but just rapid braking is in this sim the fastest way to warm your tires up. So that might be a strategy, sitting back trying to warm them up as quick as you can. The lights in the pace car are still on, so I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, we will get through this. And yeah, it's been a long night tonight. I sincerely thank you guys for sticking with us. We started here at just after 8 o'clock, and it is now 10:05 p.m. Eastern time. So what a night it's been. Plenty of great racing. It's been well worth it in my mind. I feel like tonight's race, for all the cautions we've seen, has been full of some really fun battles. Nick and Andrew and Max and Trevor and Michael have been worth the price of admission alone. And I really love qualifying. I have a soft spot in my heart for qualifying in these cars in this series. It's kind of fun, and it's always been one of my favorite elements of Formula One. And to carry that over into the series was at the very beginning why I wanted to start doing open qualifying, because it's such an authentic experience. You get the live timing through each sector, and you get a much better idea of what's going on. And it feels like its own really fun mini race, which in a lot of senses it is. So I find it fascinating too, just how quick guys can be, not just on their own, because that's, if we did road course qualifying closed, guys on track by themselves, you'd see very similar names up front every week in qualifying, at least as far as the road courses go. But because it's open, guys got to take their opportunities more. They got to practice racecraft. They got to practice getting in the draft. And I think here at the ovals, it's actually more representative of how quick a driver will be in the race, determined by how quick they are in qualifying, because it's the very same skill set. You have to be just as good at slipstreaming, just as good as driving in the dirty air. So it's fun. I really like the open qualifying in this series, and always fun tonight. Of course, tonight's winner here in qualifying was Tim Salvatore, your first pole sitter of the season, other than race leader Andrew Bedrosian. Lights on the pace car are off. We are getting ready to go. My voice is going each and every lap. I don't know if I can go. I don't know if I can do another 2 or 3 race restarts, but we can get through this one because what a race it's been. We got to end it off in style. Bedrosian, Nickerson, Preston, Anderson, Salvatore, Nickel, Zufelt, Mitchell, and Paxa all on the lead lap. David Paxa does get tucked up back to the end of this line, I should note. So David Paxa has been allowed to go by the lap cars. And I don't know if he can win in 2 laps, but he can certainly make up a fair bit of track position. If he can get back to the top 5, what a recovery it would be for David Paxa. But just like that, Marshall Crocker Sr. will cap off the top 10, at least provisionally, as he does get the lucky dog and is now a full lap ahead of Justin Lewick. 2 laps to go. Another early jump for Andrew Bedrosian. He is gone. Nick just was not up to speed there, was not in gear. No, we're going to go around for another yellow. Okay, so I was going to say, crazy early jump. That's going to be an executive decision from our race official, Mr. Christopher Ferrara guy. I don't shout out nearly enough, but the Bandit guys will know him. He's is a Bandit Racing League veteran. He's done plenty of great work for that series. There appears to have been a crash, at least on my telemetry here. Coming to the green. Maybe that's what the issue was. Oh, that would be it. Everybody checked up at the same time. Nobody actually made contact, but we did have kind of a last minute coming together. So is the pace car back out? Okay, it's back out. We're gonna delay the green by a lap. But the lights on the pace car are off, so this should be the restart. I really hope. We've seen it twice now, because I think Andrew was ready for the restart. I don't just think he was responding to the caution coming out again. Nick's got to be ready for this restart. Same with Max, same with Trevor, because Andrew is jumping extremely early, and he's totally within his right to do so, as long as the pace car's on pit road. Pace car's on pit road. When will Andrew go? 2 laps to go here at Gateway. Now he goes. Nickerson, Preston, Max got a great jump, and green flag for the final 2 laps here at Gateway for the 4th round of the 2nd season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. 2 laps to go here at Gateway. If we get the white flag, the next lap will end the next flag ends the race. Preston down to the bottom, gets the move done comfortably on Nickerson. I don't know if he's backing off, setting up a move or what, but Max just soared by the 2 car. What is happening? Nick is dropping spots like a rock. Trevor now underneath him to turn number 3. Max comfortably ahead. Andrew just soaring off to the front of the field. White flag this time by. What a weird finish here at Gateway. Andrew now a full second, almost a second ahead. 3/4 of a second. Anderson side by side with Nickerson. This could be the battle for the points lead after Andrew, who should take over the points lead. But they're side by side off the corner. Anderson gets him out of 3, out of 2, up to turn number 3. Nick gonna peek to the outside of the track. On the inside is Anderson, side by side into turn 3. Anderson should get the better run on the inside. We'll see if Nick can get him to the line, but off turn 4, after crashing early in the first 5 laps of the race, he recovers, comes back, and clutches out the victory at Gateway for his 2nd win of the season, 2nd win in 2 weeks. Andrew Bedrosian, your race winner at Worldwide Technology Raceway. What a drive, what a race. Nick Nickerson, what happened there on the last lap? Went from 2nd, the runner-up there, the catbird seat driver, to finishing 4th. Just what a crazy, weird end of the race. Tim Salvatore recovers to 5th. David Paxa comes away with a 7th. I don't know where that came from. The fireworks going off on track for Andrew Bedrosian, your race winner. You see him there in the background. Christopher Mitchell finishes in 8th. Michael Nickel in 9th. Marshall Crocker Sr. in 10th. He does round off the top 10. But Andrew Bedrosian gets the win. Just what happened to Nick Nickerson? That was one of the weirdest finishes I've ever seen. Was not what I was expecting after what was, gosh, essentially 115 laps of hard, clean racing. I think only maybe 10 laps out of the entire event was the leader, more than a second clear of 2nd place. But Andrew's finishing up his celebration lap here and bring it to the checkered flag. We'll see if we get some donuts here from your race winner. First oval win of the season for Andrew, 4th in series history for him, and he is tonight's race winner at Gateway in the 4th round of the season. There are the burnouts. Andrew's lighting the rubber up a little bit here, and we'll get his graphic up on screen. There you go. Andrew Bedrosian, tonight's race winner, driver of the number 5. We'll get the proper graphic up here. We got to give him his fair due. Okay, get everything off there. There you go for him. Andrew Bedrosian, your race winner tonight at Worldwide Technology Raceway. What an event. Trevor Anderson and Max Preston already trackside, ready for their interviews, but Max is going to continue his, sorry, Andrew, I should say. Andrew is going to continue his celebration laps, and well deserved. It was a busy night for him from start to finish. At one point, was down 3 laps. I had said in one of the later interviews, I think to who was it that was recovering? Tim Salvatore, who got back in the lead lap. I said Andrew went from 3 laps down all the way back to the lead lap, and Tim did a very similar thing. It was just Andrew was able to recover from that initial wreck a little bit quicker, and as a result, finds himself your race winner tonight. There we go. See if we can get a good park shot. Get a shot for, I don't know, the social medias. I like to try to screenshot these things if possible to put them up if we get the opportunity. But the Marblehead, Massachusetts native gets his 2nd win of the season from the 5th spot, matching his car number, his first non-pole of the season, but he does convert it into a race win. Now he's off the track. So with that, that'll round off tonight's action here, and now we can go to your race results. We'll get through your interviews, and we'll get you guys off to bed, because it's been a long night tonight here on the broadcast, by far the longest of the season so far. We'll get that graphic off the screen because we are no longer looking at your race winner. Here are your results tonight in the 4th round of the season here at Gateway in the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series 2nd season. Race winner tonight is 2nd of the year. Andrew Bedrosian clutches it out there late after making his way back all the way through the field, recovering for a great finish tonight to win the race and take the points lead, I would have to imagine. Max Preston will come home in 2nd place, capitalized on Nick's troubles there at the end of that final restart. He does hold off Trevor Anderson, who also holds off Nick Nickerson in a photo finish by 0.03 of a second. Trevor Anderson takes his 3rd podium of the season and the final podium spot of tonight's event behind Max. Nick Nickerson and Tim Salvatore round off your top 5. Then it's Fred Zufelt and David Paxa, both recovering from multiple laps down at one point, back to 6th and 7th on the grid. Christopher Mitchell comes home in 8th. Michael Nickel had some trouble there on the last lap. Might have gotten involved in a wreck. He comes home 9th. Marshall Crocker Sr. will finish off the top 10 ahead of Justin Lewick and James Donk, both 3 and 4 laps down apiece. Mitch Morrow and Jack Hillier finished 13th and 14th. David Lakey comes home in 15th. Jonathan Petrone in 16th. Tanner Dignard left the event early on lap 36. And he comes home in 17th. And Rich Foligno tonight rounds off your awesome 18-car massive field tonight in the 18th spot, unfortunately, leaving on lap 25 due to what I assume was hardware malfunctions. And that is your field tonight. What of an event it's been. In broadcasts like these where it's this busy, I'm always glad to get off to the interviews because it gives me a brief break from talking. It lets somebody else do the talking here. And now we can hear about Trevor Anderson talk a little bit about his night and what is another incredibly impressive, consistent finish from a guy this season. And it's Trevor's 3rd of the season. So we will go to him in just a moment, talk to him about his 3rd place performance that should keep him, I would think, in 2nd in the points. Sorry, just a quick moment here, folks. Okay, we'll go to your 3rd place finisher, Trevor Anderson, for a quick interview. We'll try to make him a little bit quicker tonight than usual so you guys can get off because it's been a long night, but Trevor's still bizarrely duplicated photo. There it is on screen, and there you go. We're ready for the broadcast. So, ready for the interview, I should say. Let's get him in the broadcast booth here and go to your first interview of the night with Mr. Trevor Anderson. Hey, Trevor, Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you, Marshall.
Hey, Trevor, it was, what a night tonight. It was certainly the most caution-packed race we've had in this series in quite a long time, but I think the trade-off of that was some really good, really great racing action, and you seem to be involved in all of it. Just talk us through your entire race there, kind of early to mid portion. You start 6th, you're up front, you just always seem to be in the top 5, and was that a long-term strategy thing? Were you trying to stay conservative, or were you just finding a way to avoid every wreck that a lot of people couldn't seem to?
Well, I wanted to stay up front. I didn't realize it until about halfway through the race that once you lose the draft, you're not getting it back, and so it was really important to stay up front. Unfortunately, I got into Justin there about 10 laps in or so. That was really unfortunate. Didn't help him out very much there. But yeah, I think we had a little netcode issue there. When you're racing 1,000 miles apart, we're kind of limited by the speed of light, so it is what it is. But Yeah, I just wanted to stay up front, stay with the draft. There was that one moment there near the end where I think we almost took it 4 wide going into turn one. And I just had to back out there. I was like, we are not making it to the finish like this. So I just, wanted to be there at the end, and it worked out.
Yeah, it really did. And now to the end portion of the race, the other half there, down to the finish. It was yourself and, we thought it was going to be you, Max, Nick, and Andrew, really, the main 4 competitors there at the very end. All you guys had shown pace, and even Tim Salvatore, too, who had come back through the field after an early wreck. But talk to those last couple laps from your perspective, because Nick, having his troubles, I think he just ran out of fuel. I don't know if you have more insight on your side of things as the driver than we do. But, yeah, finding your opportunity there at the very end, holding him off there at the finish, that was really your first defensive moment in quite a while. So defending here at Gateway, is it generally a pass-happy track? And how easy was it to hold off Nick there for the podium spot at the end?
Wasn't too hard to hold off Nick. I think if you got that outside line, I think that was really where the fast line ended up being, was just above that seam in turns 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, you could carry a ton of speed around that outside. And I think I ended up on the inside there at the finish, or I don't even remember, it all happened so fast. But just trying to carry as much speed through the turns as I possibly could. I was just trying to keep it down and not get into anybody. I wasn't too focused on defending him. I was mostly just trying to get it around as fast as I could. And if he got by me, he got by me. But I was just doing my best to make it there to the finish.
And you did, and you come home for another third this season, man. It's just been a consistent Trevor is always in the top 5 kind of season. You're just a guy that is always towards that top end of the timing tower, and it's paying off for you. I think Andrew will take the series points lead. I'd imagine he did get the bonus points there for leading a number of laps, and it was also tonight's race winner, obviously. So you're still in the equation. You, Nick, and Tim, if he gets his drop race included. We got a really fun battle here for the title this season. So we go back to Monza next week, back to the Formula Renaults at a track I know you were at last season in the series. You're going to have a little bit of experience there, not in this car, but the sort of racing Monza holds. And then in a couple weeks, we're off to Indianapolis. So what do you think? Monza and Indianapolis, 2 tracks I think are going to suit your abilities, both generally fast-paced and going to require some high-speed maneuvering.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Monza. It's such a beautiful track, and I know those chicanes kind of trip me up a little bit, but if I can just stay clean, I know I'll be there at the finish. I've never driven it in the Formula Renault 3.5, so it'll be pretty interesting. But I just got to practice those chicanes, make sure I can get through them clean, and yeah, I'll be all right. And then Indy's going to be fun, that's for sure. It's going to be a lot of pack racing, even more so than this, and that again, it's going to be all about keeping the car clean, and even more so than this race. Honestly, it's going to be pretty wild, but I'm excited for it. I love the ovals. It's going to be a good time. I'm really excited. I'm hoping I can stay up top in the point standings. It's going well for me so far, but we'll see. Just got to keep the car clean.
Yeah, it's paid off for you so far this season. There's certainly a couple guys this season that have found out the hard way after a really good start that keeping the car clean is often the most important thing. So you've done it to a T this year, Trevor. It's been another great season, another great night for you, man. Just every week, it seems maybe not the first week you weren't in the broadcast booth, but it really feels like you've deserved to be every race of the season, and that to me is the mark of a guy that should compete for the championship, and I guarantee will. So you know what to do here at the end of the interview, Trevor. Anybody at home you want to shout out, friends, family, sponsors, anything like that, now's your time, man.
Yeah, thank you, Marshall. Just want to thank my wife, of course, for just always being the best and supporting me in my racing and hockey. We went up and did an outdoor hockey game yesterday. That was a lot of fun. And then, everybody for watching. There's a bunch of people at my dad's house right now watching the race. My dad, my stepmom, Amy, Lexi, and Kyle. And then, of course, my best friend Brendan is out there watching the race. I really appreciate all them watching. And then my Grandma Kathy and Grandma Evelyn are always watching me race. Really appreciate them. And then I think Dane and Jordan are watching as well. So just big shout out to all of them. Really appreciate all of them watching me. I never thought I'd be racing with an audience, so it's pretty cool.
Well, there you go. Shout out to the entire Trevor crew, and what a season you've been having in front of such an audience, man. They're gonna have to tune in each and every week if you're gonna keep rattling off performances like that. So awesome job tonight, Trevor. Really glad to hear you're excited for Monza, and I guess we'll see you next week. I know you were quick there last year, so try to do it again for us and see if you can go for win number 2.
Thanks, Marshall.
There you go. And that'll be tonight's first interview with Mr. Trevor Anderson. Now off to Mr. Max Preston, because we got to get through these. It is pretty late, but always a great opportunity to talk to these guys post-race and get their thoughts. And they always have a little bit more insight than we do as the audience and me as the broadcaster, because we never get to hear the driver chat and hear what they're talking about, hear what the issues are for the drivers. So always good to get these opportunities to hop in car and hear from the men themselves. So now off to your second place finisher tonight, Max Preston, and what I believe is his first podium of the year. Hey, Max, Marshall for the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Marshall, what's going on, man?
Oh, it is going. It's been a long, very busy night, but there was some great racing sprinkled throughout there from start to finish, and you were involved in a lot of it. First of all, just the elephant in the room. We got to talk about that battle between you, Andrew, and Nick. Just what's the racing like here at Gateway? Because that battle seemed like the epitome of everything I was expecting tonight at Gateway. Plenty of passing opportunities, plenty of different lines. Was the racing as multi-group as we thought, and what was it like battling it out with those two?
Yeah, you know what? It was really one of those things where it's just a war of attrition, right? It was, it was basically having a balance between, keeping the door open so that when someone does get a crazy run on you going into turn 1, then you let them have that run, right? Because ultimately, it's not going to benefit anybody if you try to, race wheel to wheel, defend like crazy, and then burn up your tires in the process trying to do it, right? So I was trying to be, the wise, smart guy out there, which is, trying to think 5-10 laps ahead into the race from that point on, where I was, when I was going around the track. And so I can envision something going on between Tim and Andrew at the opening stages of the race. So I gave them room, and sure enough, 3 laps later, we have a yellow flag, right? And it was just sort of keeping that balance of trying to, maintain that top 4 position. So I was always in the mix with the lead group, but at the same time, trying to be wise and trying to be smart and giving room to the guys. But I have to commend Nick. Nick did an unbelievable job leading that race when I was trying to get around him after that first yellow flag there. So he kept, getting a great run on the outside of turn 1. And watching him and how effective he was using that method and that line was what gave me the idea to start running the exact same line when I started leading the race. And so, he did an unbelievable job at, commanding the opening stages of this race, and, was watching, learning, and then was able to put that into effect at the end. And, sure enough, got a great run off of him in the last lap and was able to take second place. And unfortunately, just ran out of laps. But, I think if I had one more lap, then I would have been right on Andrew's rear wing. And who knows, what could have happened at the end of that race. So, there's always next time. But it was a great race, super tight. It was trying to maintain my eyes on everything to make sure I didn't, touch wheels with anybody, because it's super easy to do that at this oval racing. But was able to keep it incident free and happy to be home in second.
See, you were the masterclass of interviews, because you just walked us through the entire thing, all the questions I could have potentially asked you had in there. So I love interviewing you, Max. So nights like tonight where it's busy and my voice is dying, you make it so much easier on me. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's great to get some perspective there. And yeah, Nick and you guys were just there were a couple moments there where we thought things were going to get dicey, but one of you would always back out and make the smart decision. So that was so much fun to watch. Thank you sincerely, Max, for an incredible night of racing, and from you and the other guys. But looking forward, next week we go to Monza, back to the Formula Renault cars, and the week after that we go to Indy. And the big Indy race last year, one we hyped up for quite a while, biggest field we had all season, came down to a photo finish at the end. Between that and Monza, where real life Formula 1 has seen incredible finishes the last couple of years, we know it's fast paced, we know it'll be competitive. Are you looking forward to these next 2 weeks of racing? And do you think that first win of the season for the number 6 to tie Andrew now for second all time in the series, he does take that over from you? Do you think that'll be coming in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Monza's a great track, and it's a track I love. Actually, I love it so much that I have a wooden laser cut version of it on the wall of my man cave down here. So it's a track I love. I married an Italian, so there we go. Pass is great. And it's a track I've done a lot of laps in. So that and Indy are going to be 2 great venues, and I'm really excited for it. And the major thing being is, even though I missed the first race of the season, just trying to keep my head down, trying to keep myself and my nose out of trouble, and hopefully claw back some of those points that I missed out earlier on, especially with that other oval race that I was 3 laps down on. So that really hurt the championship. But it's not over till it's over, and just like last year and the year before, we're going to keep racing and we're going to keep chasing that first win. But I think it's going to come, hopefully pretty soon. But I'm feeling pretty good about these next couple of races. So, Marshall, I got to thank you again for your kind words on saying you love to interview me. Sorry for making your job, a little easier, but I'm glad to help your voice out, because even me, I'm super tired after this race. This is an endurance race for sure. So,
Really was.
well done, you guys. I'm sure the broadcast turned out exceptionally well. And it's you guys that make all this possible, so that's awesome. So I'm really happy to have put on this show tonight, and can't wait to watch this afterwards.
Awesome. Sincerely appreciate it, Max. And that's your opportunity again. These are always a pleasure. I love having you back here, and what a drive from you tonight. I know that Andrew in the end just took the opportunity that the 2 laps to the end just didn't give you quite enough time, but you, Nick, and Andrew all ran a masterclass. Same with Trevor, who comes home third. So we have some incredible drivers in this series, and I think both Monza and Indy next week are going to be absolute incredible races to watch. But you know what to do. I know you always got people watching you at home. Any sponsors you want to mention? Anything you want to talk about? Now's your time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to thank the guys that help design the cars and everything like that, and help design the racing helmet and all of that. So and also do a great job on branding and marketing and website design. So I just want to say, if you need any branding or website design content made for you guys, check out Lumo Marketing at lumomarketing.ca. And of course, I've got some friends watching in the chat today. So Aaron, Andrea, Caitlin, Razzie Tazzy, the kitty cat, and of course Ricky Smitherman, my best man for my wedding. They're watching right now, so thanks a lot, guys, for coming out and watching. And we're gonna put a little special thing in the car for next time. So, and of course, thanks to my family, my mom, dad, sister, my dog, of course, that I mentioned last week. So God bless him, and my wife, of course, Alyssa Preston. Thank you so much for watching, babe. And you guys and all the rest of the racers, gotta say a shout out. Great. Thanks for putting on this great series. Thanks for putting on the great commentary. And you're exactly right, Marshall. We've got some huge talent in this series, and it doesn't make it easy out there, man. Every single race and every single top 3 is got to work really hard for it. So the next couple of races are gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome. That is what I like to hear, Max. And that's why 2 weeks in a row, 2 consecutive podiums, they have been well earned, Max. You're coming into your form at this point in the season. You got a drop race, and once we consider that, I think you're going to be right up there in points. So you got a long season to fight for. Great to know that both you and Trevor got plenty of people watching you succeed as much as you have. And I wish you the very best of luck. And both you and Trevor seem to be really looking forward to Monza. So that's one to watch out for, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to have you back. Congratulations tonight, Max. We'll see you next Sunday.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Happy to be here, and can't wait for the next one. Take care, everyone.
See ya. There you go. Second interview of the night with second place finisher Max Preston. Shout out to all his friends and family watching, and what a driver Max is, man. He's been here every season I've ever hosted. He's always such an eager driver to get out here, and he puts in the time in practice, and such a great guy. Glad to see him back. And like I said, so well spoken. Makes my life so much easier when it comes to interview time. So here we go. Final interview of the night. It has been a long one, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody that is sticks around this long in the broadcast, I always sincerely appreciate it, because I always want to give these guys a chance to give a little bit of insight. It's more fun for watching back to be able to look back on it, get a little bit of extra context knowing the race winner situation. But actually, the sim has come to a close, so it'll be tough to pull up Andrew Bedrosian's name, but we'll try to get it figured out here. Here's your race winner. And where is his name? And name card, please. And name card, please. That'll work. We unfortunately don't have the proper graphic. It's decided that it's time to show up is done, as the event, the time limit has come to an end. So we'll have to stick with this for now. But race winner Andrew Bedrosian, final interview of the night. Let's get him in the broadcast booth. Hey Andrew, it's Marshall up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Hey, Andrew, Marshall in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Gotcha. Andrew, congratulations, man. 2 wins in 2 weeks, and what a win it was. Certainly wasn't easy on you. You talk about the adversity there early on. Just talk us through that first incident there with Tim and going all those laps down. And what was your mindset? Were you confident you were going to be able to get it back? And were you at all surprised with how the race ended up going?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was early on in the race. Anything can happen. I really, in my mind, I was just not giving up. I mean, like I said, it was early on in the race, still plenty of time to make up. And, yeah, just chop it down little by little and came out on top.
Yeah, you did indeed, and the later portions of that race did not look easy. You and Max and Nick and Trevor by the end, we're just having such incredible battles there. So what's it like from your experience? You know, how much were you trying to balance keeping it clean and keeping it safe versus, you know, taking any opportunity you could to pass? Was passing pretty easy to come by tonight, or was it tough to find those opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, trying to keep it clean right when from that very traumatic experience in the very beginning of the race. I mean, I really didn't want to take any more chances, but you know, you have to in order to pass. But around I think around 70 laps or so, right when we were like 70 laps in, I was up there at in the front runners and just really try to keep it safe. I know I ran a couple laps side by side with Nick, side by side with Max, and I mean, I even told Max at one point just to take it and just run out front, run single file, and yeah, I mean, I was really just trying to keep it safe to like the very final lap, because these ovals are very unpredictable at the end, and usually just wait for somebody to crash into somebody else. Usually the top two do crash into each other, trying to beat each other to the finish line. But yeah, came away with the win after the second green white checker, and it was great.
It was smooth sailing from there, and yeah, the restart was dominant. You took off the start, got the best jump of anybody, and just like that, it was over. 2 weeks in a row, Andrew. You're cleaning up now. You'll become the series points leader once again. And after the beginning of the season at Imola, where you dominated that race, took 3 poles to start the year, it seemed like it was going to be a slow start, but since then you've picked it up. You've been absolutely dominant the last 3 weeks, and now here we find ourselves with the 5 car back at the top of the point standing. So now all the pressure's on you for Monza next week. Both your other podium finishers tonight we just interviewed said they were very much looking forward to Monza next week. So we know your experience with it last year. You had a really fun race. I think you and Trevor had an incident at one point, but after that you guys got it figured out, and it was a fun race last year. So are you anticipating with the Formula Renault next week it's going to be just as fun? And what are you looking forward to for Monza?
I mean, it's Monza's a very high-speed track. It presents just as many mistakes as Imola did. It's a couple chicanes that you can easily get a penalty by iRacing for cutting the track, and yeah, I mean, it's overall dangerous track, but it's also just as hard to run away from the whole group because it's like I said, it's such a high-speed track. It has lots of straightaways, so it should be very easy to pass, but not very easy to defend. And yeah, it's definitely something you might see people try to pass through turns 1 and 2 in that chicane, and definitely some crashes, maybe even at the start, because it's turns 1 and 2 are so slow. But yeah, I am looking forward to Monza. It's definitely one of my favorite hunting grounds, if you could say that. But yeah, I'm really just looking to try to redeem myself from last year at Monza and try to pick up a win next week.
Awesome. Could try to go 3 in a row. It'd be the first time we've seen it in this series since your last year's championship rival, Mr. Logan Paxton. Maybe the first time ever, other than him in the series. Could become the second driver ever to do so. So I wish you the absolute best of luck. I know you'll be quick next week, as you always are. And well, you know what to do at the end of the interview here. You know, any fans in the attendance, anybody you want to shout out, friends and family, sponsors, now's your time to do so, man.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my girlfriend, my mother, my family and friends for all watching. I'd like to thank Stamos Realtors, the Kings of Pop Culture, JP West Photo, the Redford School, for sponsoring me. And just really want to thank you, Marshall, for putting this all on. And this really wouldn't be possible without you. So
awesome. Thank you, Andrew. It's always my pleasure to do so. And yeah, tonight was a long one. Tonight was a bit of a marathon, but the racing at the end was well worth the price of admission. And really great to see you getting your stride, man. I wish you the absolute best of luck next week at Monza, and we'll see you. Oh, and hey, awesome to have your internet stuff figured out and your tech issues.
Yeah.
No blinking tonight, so it was great to see the 5 car in all its glory.
All right, thanks, Marshall.
Awesome. Have a good week, man.
Bye.
And there you go. With that, we'll round off your final interview of the night with tonight's race winner, Mr. Andrew Bedrosian. What an event. What a drive from him. Had to come back from some adversity. Made some big moves tonight. Lots of big moves. That was the kind of the term of the race for Andrew Bedrosian. But what a broadcast it's been. What a race it's been. We're going to keep this nice and short because here's me. Don't even have the virtual background tonight. It was the race I was hoping for. It was an incredible turnout. Thank you to each and every driver tonight who made it out. 18 cars. That is nuts. That is exactly what I was hoping for heading into the season. Hopefully we can keep it up for Monza. Monza will be such a fun track. And we're back for 2 weeks in Indianapolis. In 2 weeks for Indianapolis. That'll be an incredible race. We had a photo finish, 4 cars within a tenth of a second last year. It's going to be incredible. Get ready for that. Get hyped for that. Next Sunday, we're back to the road courses, though. We're going to Monza, high-speed racetrack. So much fun to watch. That is one you don't want to miss. We're going to keep this simple. We'll put up the schedule. Got some sponsors to shout out to, but just very quickly, there's the series schedule the next couple weeks. On the 6th of February, we head into the second month of the year. We go to Monza next Sunday. Sunday after that, we're at Indianapolis, unless that is Super Bowl Sunday. Indianapolis will be moved. It won't be the Sunday. If it's not a different time that day, then it'll be a different day that weekend. Might be the Saturday. It'll get moved. So I promise you that'll be a little bit different because we do have to get that figured out. Same possibly with Daytona 500 Day, though we will work that out. So Daytona 500 Sunday is in February as well. It's going to be a busy February. But Road America on the 20th, and then the 27th is our Homestead doubleheader. Just going to throw it out there. We might do an in-car all-star race where yours truly, Mr. Marshall Crocker Jr., participates in the all-star race for the first time since the first season of Carts to Computers. We'll get it a little bit more produced than we did the other year I did it. We'll try to make things look a little bit more polished and a little bit smoother, a little bit more proper broadcast-like if we do so. But just going to throw it out there, the possibility that I participate in the all-star race because I wanted to run in the series for a while. We've had some people mention it, including drivers, so maybe this is finally the time. But I want to first of all thank our sponsor tonight, CanadianMiniIndy.com. As always, thank you for everything they do for sponsoring this series and for representing us, giving us some awareness. And I'm more than happy to do the same on behalf of the series because Canadian Mini Indy, it's where I got my start in racing. I wouldn't have any real life racing experience and any of great years in karting if it weren't for them. So sincerely, thank you. If you're in the Hamilton, Ontario, Canada area, anywhere in Ontario, that's your place to check out. They're the series sponsor for everything we do. So sincerely thank you to them. Evan Wall Media below me. Check him out, evanwallmedia.com. He does all of our graphics in this series. Any of you guys watching from the Bandit Racing League will recognize Evan, former broadcaster of that series and my co-commentator when it comes to the Bandit stuff, and he also does all sorts of graphics work. Always gets this stuff done on time. Any of the cool graphics you ever see on screen, those are done by him. So thank you, Evan Wall, so much. And Full Send Racing Network, that's us. That's the channel. That's where all my personal stuff goes. The Bandit Racing League Season 10, when it comes back at the end of March, this is where it'll be. We're gonna speed through it late at night. Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to everybody who supports the channel. Thank you to Scott Norman. Thank you to Heather on behalf of the Paxes and everybody who watches each and every week. I sincerely appreciate those of you, especially those that have jumped over from the Bandit Racing League. That's extremely cool. I promise I recognize you guys in the chat. I just don't always have an actual name to go off of, so I don't want to say a name that isn't there in the chat. But I sincerely appreciate it, each and every one of you that I ever see there. Thank you so much for making what I do happen, and I'm more than happy to do it every Sunday going forward, as long as you guys enjoy it. So have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Thanks for sticking through us with the longest broadcast in series history. Have a great week, everybody. We will see you next Sunday at Monza for the 5th round of the second season of the Snowstorm Open Wheel Racing Series. Have a good week, everybody.